experiences that go beyond learning and fun. So don't forget to grab your agenda and of course pick wisely with the best time for the one and only Gafx Conference 2022. Light and brightness have always been equated with positivity, motivation, and omen for the good. This has been an age-old tradition to begin any auspicious event with the ceremonial lighting of the lamp. So I would now request our members of the Abai Management Committee to please join me on stage for the lighting of the lamp ceremony. And I would also request you to please escort our two guests on stage. And could we have a big round of applause, please, as I would like to invite on stage Dr. C.N. Ashwath Narayanaji and Dr. E.V. Ramana Reddy. We also have with us Meera ma'am on stage, our Managing Director for Kids. Thank you so much, distinguished guests. Without any further ado, allow me to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Srinivas Bindiganavale, our Secretary of Abai, and he's here to present the welcome address. Could we have a huge round of applause, please? Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank our sponsors, Platinum sponsor Technicolor Creative Studios and MPL, Gold sponsor Zebu Animation Studio, Silver sponsor Arena Animation, Bronze sponsor Epic Games, Venue partner Karnataka Chitrakala Parishad, and Connectivity partner Act Fibernet. We have our association partner, Indian Delphic Council.
Eldrigu Namaskara. Shubhodaya. Very good morning to all of you. Welcome to the Honorable Minister IT, BT, Information Technology, Education, Higher Education, Skill Development, Dr. C.N. Ashwath Narayanji, Sri E.V. Ramana Reddy ji, ACS, Meena Madam, all the dignitaries present here, dear guests, students, industry professional, artists, and dear friends. Well, this is how I start. As we meet here for a confluence of the technologies, animation, visual effects, gaming, immersive media, all that comes under that augmented reality, virtual reality. I would like to take you back more than 5,000 years ago. I would like to start with the first sloka of Bhagavad Gita. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvatu Sanjaya. You would wonder, what am I saying? Well, more than 5,000 years back, when the blind king Dhritarashtra wanted to witness what's happening in Kurukshetra, his special aide Sanjaya was gifted with special powers, where he could see miles away battle that was being done, recreated in front of him in a virtual environment. So I would like to say that that's where it all began. So that's where it all started. And today here we are, thousands of years later, talking about technologies, immersive media, virtual reality, unreal objects, unreal world, everything in one. So having said that, we have come a long way. ABAI as an association, which is a 16-year-old association, has been striving hard towards the growth of animation, visual effects, gaming, comics, and immersive media for the last 16 years, with the able support of KITS, ITBT department, Government of Karnataka, and a wonderful ecosystem, our industry leaders and stakeholders. And being the first state to introduce the AVGC policy to the second version in 2017, to creating a center of excellence, I think we are going in the right way. And we should be happy that we are in a city called Bengaluru, in a state called Karnataka, because this is where all the action happens. So I welcome you to, for the next 2 days, you'll be treated to various things happening over multiple venues. You will have conferences, you will have exhibition, you will have competitions happening live, the traditional and digital part being done together. It's a one-of-its-kind event where you find everything under one platform. So I heartily welcome you on behalf of the ABAI Management Committee, the Government of Karnataka, the KITS, Department of ITBT, and all the AVGC industry leaders and stakeholders to this wonderful event called Bengaluru Gafx. To end my speech, we have celebrated the past, we are experiencing the present, and now is the time to awaken the future. So welcome you all, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, to Bengaluru Gafx 2022. Can I have a round of applause? Once again, thank you so much for being here, and enjoy the next 2 days of action here. I would then pass on to our next speaker. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivas. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, with this, we kickstart our Bengaluru Gafx 2022 conference. Could we have a huge round of applause, please, as we are starting off? Our next speaker for this morning is Mr. Biren Ghosh, our president of ABAI. Mr. Ghosh has been the country head for Technicolor India for over 11 years. He is the long-standing president of ABAI, and under his leadership, Bengaluru Gafx event has become a major global event in animation, VFX, games, and comics in Asia. So could we have a huge round of applause, please, as I would like to invite Mr. Biren Ghosh on stage.
Dr. Ashwath Narayan, Dr. Reddy, Meena ma'am, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and friends. This is a really, really special occasion to be back live and try to bring back the vibe that we had in 2019 and before. This is the 11th year that we're doing this and the 4th year as Bengaluru Gafx. Before it was the ABAI Fest. And powered by the Government of Karnataka, I think the best is yet to come. I'd like to start by a very warm welcome to friends that have joined us virtually from all over the world. We have 2 virtual tracks in addition to the fantastic events that we're going to present today and tomorrow here at the Kalinga Hall. There is an exhibition that's looking for young talent. See a lot of young faces in the room, right across in a hall called the Siddharth. And there is an amazing, amazing competition zone at the Chitrakala Parishad, and there is transport to take you back and forth between these events. So, namaste and welcome. I'd like to touch upon a few quick points to give you why Bengaluru is continuing to be the country capital for this industry. The phrase AVGC got coined here in our conversations with each other and with the government many years ago, and it's somehow become a phrase that nobody really understands outside our country. But now the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister and all the other states call animation, visual effects, games and comics AVGC. So be it. We'd like to talk about India and the opportunity that's galloping in front of us, especially in the last 24 months. We'll touch briefly about how Karnataka wants to remain and will remain at the center of gravity of this ecosystem. And then we'd like to talk about skills, infrastructure, and tools as briefly as possible. So, this is India looking at the world. We are currently about 1 to 1.5% of the total media and entertainment revenues globally, which means that there's ample headroom for us to grow. And if we can double the skills that we have currently deployed across all our sectors in media and entertainment, the market share can be more than that. We've seen a fantastic amount of work coming in to all companies in all sectors post the pandemic, and I think that's the opportunity that we cannot afford to lose. Capital investments have been substantial, have been going mostly into streaming and OTT and games, and you're going to see a lot of the players in the next 2 days talking about that and what to do next. So this is a little bit of nostalgia. We've been looking at this slide since 2019, when we used to have 10 and 15 people from all the top studios in the world coming and out here to celebrate what we do next. And there's going to be enough and more for you at this event as well. So Gafx is really about connections, about bringing people together, about inspiration, and about leadership. We've had 3 business-to-business conferences, which we intend to bring back. And we used to have people from the publishing industry, people from the OTT platforms, people that have been mostly on the creative side, talking about the making of some of the greatest movies, and all that has been in the mix. I'd just like to give you a little bit of a context as to where we are as a country and as an industry. So, the Indian media and entertainment industry is 1.6 trillion rupees, which means that currently we are about US $22 billion. And when we started out here 10 or 12 years ago, animation, visual effects, and games in that entire constellation was about 3% of the total revenues of the country. Fast forward to where we were in 2019, we're already 10 or 11% of that total. And the good news is that in 2021, we are now only 11% short of where we were in 2019 in terms of the total revenues for the country, which means there's been a fantastic recovery. In that mix, I'd like to just point out that our industry, animation, games, and visual effects, have the highest growth rate across film and television and music and all of the conventional mediums that we can see. So if you look at last year, if you look at 2020 to 2024, the entire industry has a compound annual growth rate of 13%. But within that, gaming is at 25%, and TV animation and visual effects is 29%. So we are growing at a rate that is more than double, or almost 2.5 times that of the conventional media industry, which is why we need the skills to be created for those sectors. I'd like to also just mention that we are not an island, and the role of our association is to play among the ecosystem. So we work with all the trade associations, we work with all the country partners. We will tomorrow for the valedictory have representatives from many of the countries and their trade councils. because when they bring delegations to India, Bengaluru becomes the point of call for their visit. We also work across the technology sector, because as much as we are a creative engine, we are driven by technology, and we are, in fact, the poster boys for companies, like Autodesk and NVIDIA and many, many others. So this is very much an ecosystem play, and what we want to see is that as the tide rises, all the boats rise with it. Finally, I just want to talk about the fact that this is a huge domestic market that is growing. Many of us have seen the rampant growth, and today in the AVGC sector, 70% of all revenues come from services that we do for the globe. But the domestic market is beginning to shine as well, and that's happening because, if I can give you a few statistics, there are only 24 million homes in India that have broadband. So huge headroom for growth there with 5G coming in. Smartphones, we have 503 million folks on smartphones, and they spend 4 hours a day consuming content, which is why the appetite for the local market is jumping, especially for online games and the OTT channels. The OTT channels last year in India spent $600 million on fresh content in 1 year, out of which the international players themselves spent $400 million. So lots and lots of opportunity for writers and directors and creators, and of course for the digital arts industry as well. Moving forward, storytelling. I think we are seeing in India now, with the arrival of the streaming channels, a far greater variety of genres in drama, in action, in thrillers, and this all needs a lot of visual effects, a lot of animation, and a lot of storytelling that is powered by companies that create that. I wanted to just also make the point that at this moment in time, stories are no longer the purview only of folks that go around creating this with the camera. And you'll see in the subsequent slides and in the fantastic center that we have created in Bangalore, which is being presented live from Whitefield into this area, that it's about the stories. No matter whether you are creating an immersive project, there are projects that we spoke to the minister about at our last meeting, about how we can take, not only can people go to the temples, but we can bring the temples to them through virtual reality and the things that we are doing now. And I know that the chief minister is already engaged in a pilot project for the Mysore Palace. So lots of stuff is happening where stories are not just entertainment and fiction on TV, but things that we need to bring back in terms of getting our culture out there for everyone. I'd like to touch very briefly upon the fact that what we would like to see is cubs that grow into lions. And I think what we've really seen in Bangalore in the last 10 years is that when studios started here, 90% of the talent used to come from outside the state. That has made significant progress, and we now see many, many folks from Karnataka that participate in that. I'm not going to spend much time on this except to say that the reason that we created the Center of Excellence at ABI with the grant from the government of Karnataka was in order to do two things. One, to make sure that small and medium sector companies can scale. Our gold partner, which you'll see on the screen when my face goes off, is a company that started in our COE with about 10 or 20 artists, and is now crossing the 100 artist mark. And that's exactly the vision that we have. Can we have a WeWorks or a syndicated infrastructure for startups? And that's gone really, really well. You're going to hear much more about that later, so I won't dwell on that further. So 7 or 8 years ago, when artists in our studio in Bangalore were working with groundbreaking stuff, something we call Genesis when we worked with Disney and Jon Favreau for Jungle Book and The Lion King. Today is on screens and all over the world, whether it's The Mandalorian produced in other countries, stuff that is produced now in India, like RRR and KGF 2, which just came out. You will see that virtual production is going to become a part of every project in the next 2 to 4 years' time across all forms of television and film. And that's why I think that's going to be a big focus for what we're presenting at this conference. Digital humans, for those of you who remember the work done by Bengaluru artists going back on Terminator with the young and the old, Schwarzenegger facing off, the interaction between CG creatures and a live boy, and of course the Oscar-winning work done for Blade Runner 2049 were pioneering at that time and are becoming more a part of digital life today. A big theme for the government of Karnataka has been Beyond Bengaluru. And we took a lot of the events, the government took a lot of the events that were in Bengaluru to other locations. I'm happy to tell you that for the last 9 years, we have partnered with KITS, the government of Karnataka agency, to kind of reimagine what the government colleges will do in 27 locations around the country. And those of you who've come here from DAC, can you please raise your hands? From DAC colleges, come on, raise your hands. There are 275 people, maybe they are outside in the competition zone, etc. We've got 275, maybe up to 300 people coming in from these 27 colleges to spend these 2 days at Gafx. I'd also like to say that the work we've done in Bengaluru has been taken up now at a national agenda. On the 8th of April, a government order was issued at the instance of the Prime Minister of this country, and they have created a national task force comprising of 7 individuals. I'm really honored to be a part of that, and 5 ministries at the central government, and they'll be inviting the state government, 5 state governments to participate in that. The first, Dr. Reddy, the first invitation I think will be coming to you, or probably has come, for Wednesday the 4th, which is our first meeting. And in 90 days, the country will publish a policy at a national level and then work to see how we can implement that across all states. And of course, we'd like for Bengaluru to be a part of that. So exciting times when the Prime Minister has recognized and publicly stated, there's a video now, to say that animation, visual effects and games will be the soft power that India wants to take to the world. So that's a very, very big accomplishment, right? Somewhere in a corner of Whitefield, 16 or 17 years ago, there were 300 artists in a studio that began to work on animation, visual effects and games. Many of them are here today. And I'm happy to say that what we've been able to do is to actually create Bangalore as the way forward for talent at scale. We'd like to, in our next policy, which is due out from the government of Karnataka in 2022, to make sure that we create talent at scale, we create infrastructure at scale, we bring more awards. This is a 2-year-old slide, but we've won in this city every single award that there is to win in our industry worldwide. No conference can finish without mentioning the word metaverse now. And I'm happy to tell you that both today and tomorrow you're going to see some amazing presentations here on this stage from companies like Gametronics and many others on the virtual platform that talk about where we are in that journey. So that's going to come to you in a great way as well. I put this here to show you that some things that you do in creating visual effects and animation are extremely complicated. There is math involved in it, there's anatomy involved in it. But on the other side of the scale, there are many functions and many skill sets that happen at the beginning of the journey. And we have here the CEO of KEDM, and we are in the process of signing an MOU. If you can raise your hand, Sanjeev. There you go. So KEDM and us are looking at Hubli and Dharwar to take 250 dropouts from other courses where they don't like to work anymore on whether they're doing law, or they're doing accounting, or they're doing engineering, and we're going to bring them into the roto and prep and match move, so to see how we can look at their visual ability and make sure that we create socio-economic development through what we do in our industry. So looking forward to that experiment and hope it scales to thousands of people after that. Just to let you know, and most of you know this, the best of shows in the world when it comes to TV animation get created here. It was not there before, but I think the #1 place for TV animation in the world happens here. You're going to see an amazing keynote from Janine Faulkner, who's come down specially to speak to you this morning. It's the keynote that follows, and you're going to be blown away by what's going to happen in games. Not to forget the fact that the best of titles already happening there at Technicolor Games, and you're going to see that immediately after this, so stay tuned. That's going to wake you up. Movies. We do something like 52 projects between film and television. These are a scattering of a few of them. The last two James Bond, the last two Harry Potter, the last two Pirates of the Caribbean, the last two almost everything that you can think of is all made in Bengaluru. We also have got 4 Academy Awards. So to the team that works on all of these movies, can we get a big hand for all the artists? Yeah. I just wanted to say that with 2022, we're back. And we're going to be back with a bang. We're going to make sure that the competition zone winners are fostered and taken to the next level. I want to say a very, very big thank you to the committee at ABI to have put together this again. I want to say a very big thank you to the minister, to the ACS, and to the MD of KITS, because without them, they're the wind in our sails, and thank you very much for all the support and the grant that you give to us. I'd like to say a very big thank you to the speakers who've come down. I've met friends from Hyderabad, I've met folks from other parts of the world. I'm very grateful and honored that we have 3 of my most senior colleagues from around the world who've come down in order to spend a morning and see what the Lalit Ashok looks like at Gafx. So thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic time. I was supposed to raise the curtain. It's now raised. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that fantastic curtain raiser, Mr. Ghosh. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for us to invite our next speaker, who's the Additional Chief Secretary, Electronics, Information Technology, Biotechnology, Science and Technology, Government of Karnataka, a man known for his dedication, his perseverance. So please, everybody, put your hands together as we have Dr. E.V. Ramana Reddy joining us on stage. Everybody, jorada chappale avrgoskara.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. C.N. Ashwath Narayan, sir, Honorable Minister for Electronics, IT, BT, Science and Technology, Higher Education and Skill Development. Mr. Biren Ghosh, President ABI. Mr. Srinivas, Secretary ABI. Mr. Sushil Vasin, Treasurer ABI. And Mrs. Meena Nagaraj, Director Electronics, IT and Biotechnology, Government of Karnataka. And also a very good morning to the entire audience. I think 90% is full of the with youngsters. So I would like to say good morning to everyone. Bengaluru Gafx is India's most prominent event and successful event. Last 2 years we couldn't have it because of COVID. And as mentioned by the MC, she said hosted by Government of Karnataka, so I don't want to take the credit. It is hosted and organized by ABAI, supported by Government of Karnataka. Gafx is it's a conference. It's not just conference, it is an exhibition, it's a competition, it is a showcase, and it's a meeting point for artists seeking growth and inspiration. Over the next 2 days, Gafx will witness a congregation of animation, VFX and games studios, production houses, industry veterans, professionals, students, and academia and technology partners. I am delighted to mention that we have a diverse range of speakers addressing key topics in the AVGC world today. Some of these include showcases by the Bengaluru VFX industry, making of famous movies including Dune and RRR. The conference will feature tracks on future skills, the future work, and the future new technologies such as virtual production. There will also be competitions on digital painting, 3D monitoring, 3D games art, character animation, and others. India is well connected and integrated to the virtual universe than ever before and will play a major role in the metaverse in the coming years. We have about 795 million broadband subscriptions, 500 million smartphones, and 10 million connected TVs. According to FICCI report in 2022, we have 390 million Indian players playing online games. India is amongst the largest content producers in the world with 150,000 hours of content, 2,500 hours of premium OTT content, and 2,000 hours of filmed content produced in 2021. India has over 950 animation studios and 185,000 electronic artists. The Indian gaming industry is generating $1.5 billion in revenue and is expected to grow at a growth rate of 9 to 11% in the years to come. It is with pride I would like to mention that Karnataka accounts for 20% of the Indian entertainment and AVGC industry. We have around 300 animation, VFX and gaming studios, and in Karnataka employing over 15,000 professionals. As far as Government of Karnataka is concerned, as mentioned by Mr. Biren, we were the first in the country to have come out with an AVGC policy in 2012, which we updated in 2017, and next updation is due this year. And we recently, data centers, data is integral part of all these. So recently, last week, we have announced the data center policy also from Government of Karnataka. And under this policy, we have established an excellent center of excellence, which is really the center of excellence with the state-of-art facilities. It has a post-production lab. It has a 360-degree body scanner, advanced facial motion capture, and first of its kind initiatives in the country. The Center of Excellence has also a finishing school for facilitating employment opportunities. As mentioned by Mr. Biren again, we have started digital arts labs at fine arts colleges from Government of Karnataka in collaboration with ABAI in 2013, and there are around 30 digital arts centers all over Karnataka. The Gafx event will be acceleration of the creative technologies, and I hope in the next 2 days you will have fruitful interactions and discussions ahead. Before I conclude, I would like to say that this year from November 16th to 18th, we will be holding Bengaluru Tech Summit 2022 in the Bengaluru Palace grounds in a physical mode after a gap of 2 years. And it is the largest technology event in the, not only in the country, but also in Asia. And this year will be the 25th edition of the technology event. So it will be much bigger, bolder, and much better than previous events. So I would like all of you to participate in that event. And I would like all of you to participate in the next 2-day deliberations and let it be a fruitful discussion. I didn't have visual effects like Biren and Srinivas. So thank you and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, sir. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to call our chief guest up on stage. A man of many talents. He is the Honorable Minister of Electronics, Information Technology, Biotechnology, Science and Technology, Higher Education and Skill Development, Entrepreneurship and Livelihood, Government of Karnataka. He's worked really hard to make sure Bangalore is on the map and, of course, making it as the top places for IT. Please, everybody, put your hands together as I would like to invite on stage Dr. C.N. Ashwath Narayan, sir. A big, big round of applause for him, please. Jorada chappale aurgoskara.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಆತ್ಮೀಯರೇ, ಈ ದಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಭಯ್ ಸಂಘಟನೆ ಗೆಫೆಕ್ಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸನ್ನು ಆಯೋಜನೆ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂಥದ್ದಿದೆ. ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಿರುವಂಥ ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸಿ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಯಶಸ್ವಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತಮ್ಮ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸೋದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ತಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರ. ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನೊಂದಿಗೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಭಯ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಬೀರನ್ ಘೋಷ್ ಅವರು, ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಗಳಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ್ ಅವರು, ಖಜಾಂಚಿಗಳಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಸುಶೀಲ್ ಅವರು, ಅವರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಪರ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಗಳು ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ರಮಣ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರು, ನಮ್ಮ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಮೀನಾ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ಅವರು, ನಮ್ಮ ಕೇಡಮಿನ ಸಿಇಒಗಳಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ನಮ್ಮ ಗುಪ್ತಾಜಿಯವರು, ಸಂಜೀವ್ ಗುಪ್ತಾ ಅವರು, ಮತ್ತೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಮುಖರು, ದ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ who have come here exclusively for this conference. I wholeheartedly welcome all of you who have come from different parts of the country and the world. In this august presence of all the dignitaries and the participants and the delegates, I think it's my honor to be part of this function and to be part of this department. Without taking much of time, already the dignitaries have spoken about the relevant highlights, about the strength of the industry, what's happening, what needs to be done. Further to add up, probably this is the most promising area. Media and entertainment has been growing in a very rapid pace. How much we do, it is less. And the requirement for the content, there's so much of demand. We need to add up and we need to make use of this opportunity. There's so much of talent. And I was told by Biren, you can challenge anybody. That we are the best in the entire world. We can provide that kind of talent. What has been provided by Bengaluru is really remarkable, and which we need to further strengthen and grow in a much more bigger way. For this to happen, we are coming out with a right policy, right kind of required manpower. Skilled manpower is most essential. Probably the backward integration, what needs to be done between the industry and the academia, we have been working in a very big way. We have a big population which needs to be converted into a most skilled and productive resources. So the education policy per se, we have come out with a national education policy, the third national education policy after our independence. Probably this is very forward looking. We are trying to change the way the education is being provided in our country and our society, particularly in the state of Karnataka. Not like that, monotony, the learning experience should not be boring. It should be so creative, enjoyable, experiential, and hands-on experience is the way forward what we have brought in the state of Karnataka now. The entire policy will facilitate in such a way, it is not just, the creativity or anything just limits only to media and entertainment. The education per se itself will have a huge consumption, and more so the talent, not just they have to become professionals. Each and every person need to experience in a better way of learning, whichever field he might get into it. So in this direction, I've seen personally in one of my government school how the virtual learning can make a huge difference, how it can simplify. Even the person whoever is not interested also can understand and learn better. The most complicated things can be made to understand very simplified, very easily. So we are trying to work out and ensure probably the application is many fields, in every possible field we can apply. So in this direction, we have been trying to scale up and adapt in a very big way. The consumption in the domestic market also will be in a very big way, as well as with the international market and the media and entertainment. So the state of Karnataka, in the terms of entertainment also, the film industry has been growing in a very big way. We are going to create the record in the Indian cinema history by KGF 1 and KGF 2. Probably we'll be creating the record in the highest collection will be happening in the KGF 2, which will break all the records. All the records will be broken by this cinema. So this is a beginning of a journey in the particularly cinema industry. We are trying to grow big and in the local market also, and as well as international market. There's no limitation for us to limit anywhere. This is one of the examples I just quoted, but since our Biran Technicolor is doing an excellent job, and the kind of work what they have done is really remarkable and very inspiring, and it can give us a lot of confidence for our youngsters to get a lot of opportunities. Since we do have a lot of creative people with a lot of talent, they need to be given a right opportunity. For this to happen, we have come out with many of the initiatives like extending hub and spoke model, where the arts college have been integrated. More than 55 arts colleges are there, where we're trying to provide the required infrastructure and connect with them and ensure the right learning happens over there. Even in the diploma programs, community colleges, we are starting in a very big way. We are starting many courses. Recently we started in a gaming and animation program in a very big way, so that the required skill and talent can be brought out in a resourceful way. The training can be given in all levels. Even in engineering, the complete curriculum has been revamped, and we can ensure the best possible resource is most important. The Karnataka, the Bengaluru is known for the resource, the skilled manpower, which we need to further emphasize and ensure the best of the best talent will be created here and trained here, so that it can cater to the industry requirement. I do appreciate all of your good work, and we'll be coming out with a new policy on the similarly the past two policies, what we had come out with regarding the AVGC policy. Shortly we'll constitute a new team to come out with a new policy which is much more forward-looking, and which can ensure there will be a big growth in the state of Karnataka to add up and to grow in a much more bigger way. We've been collaborating with all of them. All the backward integration, forward integration, everything is happening. There's no space left out. We're trying to ensure whatever best can be done by us without, wasting our time or being, just being a spectator. We are not trying to be that. We're trying to ensure whatever best can be done by the state. We are willing to be part of any kind of initiative. Not that we want to be there. We want to ensure the state of Karnataka is the best place to do business, and we want to attract the talent from across the world and the business and the industry players from across the world and cater to the entire requirement, and it's growing in a very rapid pace. And this is the greatest opportunity. Let us all work together, and I wish all of you all the best. We'll be with you all the way, all the time, particularly our youngsters who are looking forward to make a future in this career. Don't worry, you can make the best of the best future in this career. It's very promising, and you'll be rest assured of an excellent future. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I wish all of you all the best. Thank you. Namaskara. Jai Hind. Jai Karnataka.
Sir, if I could just request you to remain on stage for 1 minute, because we have someone out here who has given us an outstanding contribution to Indian animation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Nathan Woppett, our Chief Operating Officer, Technicolor Creative Studio. If I could request you to please join us on stage. Sir, if I could request you to present. We are going to be actually giving a nice award in our valedictory function, but since we have our Honorable Minister here, we would request you to present this to Mr. Nathan Woppett, and he would be accepting this on behalf of his entire team. Thank you, sir. Nathan, a few words from you, please. Thank you.
Just on behalf of Technicolor Creative Studios, I'd like to thank the Minister for this award and receiving it from his hands. We started many years ago here in Bangalore with, chose it as our start of our Indian operation for our global operation. It's now grown to over 6,000 people and it's going to continue to grow. It's a key hub to our global studios that operate worldwide. Without the team here in Bangalore, we couldn't deliver the movies that you saw earlier today. And we continue to plan to grow. I've been out here this week talking about the plans for the future and how we're going to invest and continue to invest here in Bangalore and Karnataka to grow the studio over the next few years. So thank you again for this award. It wasn't expected. Appreciate it. Have a great conference and enjoy the next few days.
Thank you. And now to conclude our inauguration and to propose the vote of thanks, please help me to welcome on stage Mr. Sushil Bhasan, our treasurer from Mumbai. So could we have a big round of applause, please, as we have Mr. Bhasan joining us on stage.
Good morning, everyone. It's a privilege for me to propose a vote of thanks. Thank you. I thank Dr. C.N. Ashwatthanaran, Honorable Minister for IT, BT, SNT, Skill Development, Higher Education, for guiding us from the Government of Karnataka. I thank Additional Chief Secretary, Dr. E. V. Ramana Reddy, who is always with us whenever we want to consult. He is available. Madam Meena Nagraj, MD Kids, without whose team, including Arjun and others, we cannot do this kind of Gafx conference. I thank all the press and media. I thank the hotel management. I thank the Phase 1 who has organized this beautiful event. I thank Chitrakala Parishad for giving us the stalls space and the competition space. And I thank all the speakers from all over the world and India. And finally, all of you, the delegates, students from DAC and conference attendee. Thank you all. Enjoy your conference.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's now time for us to start off all of our fireside chats. We're going to be having fantastic presentations out here. But before we start all of that, all the students who are participating in the competitions, we would request you to please head towards Chitrakala Parishad right away. Thank you so much. And as we have our Honorable Minister actually leaving, could we have a big round of applause? Thank you so much, sir, for taking time out of your busy schedule and being here with us to start off our Bengaluru Gafx 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, that I have to say was an amazing start to an incredible day. And now it's time we begin with our interesting sessions I know that all of you have been waiting for. Join me in welcoming on stage the Global President of Technicolor Games, Ms. Jeanine Folker. She is a prolific leader within the gaming space, having held numerous executive roles, leading global business strategy, service innovation, sales and account management, and operations supervision. She is known for building and retaining high-performing global teams focused on increasing revenue and market share in the games industry. Janine's key goals with the Technicolor business are to focus on the offering's global footprint, growing market share, and the delivery of award-winning creative output. And joining her on stage, we have Anika Negi, Senior Producer at Technicolor Games, a gaming enthusiast and multitasking ninja. Anika has been involved in the games industry since early 2011. She is one of our prominent games leader and has delivered a whopping 11 seasons of FIFA Soccer League, to just name a few. As a senior producer, she leads a team of 200 asset artists and partners with the client on top of 10 AAA games delivered worldwide. We will also have Vichar BN, Art Director, Technicolor Games, joining us on stage. Vichar has been working at Technicolor Games for over 16 years and is considered the traditional and digital sculpting expert and often provides instruction and mentoring to the other CG modelers. So could we have a round of applause, please, as we have the team on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please put your hands together as we are being joined on stage by Ms. Janine, Anika Negi, and Vichar BN. Let's have a big, big round of applause, please. Thank you.
Namaskara, Bengaluru.
Where do you want to sit?
You know, in thinking about the kinds of things this audience might like to hear, we thought it would be good to talk a little bit about what we do at Technicolor Games. What are some of the projects we work on? What is our team like? What's the culture like? And most importantly, really, where are we going, right? That's the exciting part. We're on track this year to double our numbers, primarily in India. We will be opening other service lines and other locations, but India will continue to be the backbone of Technicolor Games. And so I did bring on board with me here a couple of the team that are on our core leadership team here in Bangalore. So I thought it was good to highlight some local talent. And you can't get much more local than Vishar, whose hometown is Bangalore, right?
Yes. Namaskara. Yep.
And so, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about what brought me here today. And then I'm going to introduce Vishar and Annika, and they can talk about some of the projects they've worked on, what they like about the team, things like that. And then we'll save time for some Q&A, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A. So, you know, one of the things that was really impressive about Technicolor is it's a household name. You know, Technicolor means something. It's an iconic brand with an 115-year legacy. And in the game services space, none of the other companies we compete against have that. That's a lot. That's really cool. And the other part that I found really interesting and that really fits with games is to be part of a larger creative organization, an organization that has most currently worked on the movie Cruella, The Lion King, Sonic the Hedgehog. Our advertising arm has done some really neat stuff with Riot Games, Sony PlayStation. So it's nice to be part of this larger creative organization. So those are the things that really brought me into games. And I joined Technicolor Games last year to really drive growth with this division. And since I've been on board, some of the things that I found super impressive in talking to current clients is that they value the team in Bangalore so much. And some of them have actually said, we can't sing the praises of your Bangalore team enough. They're amazing. They're just amazing. And it's true. I mean, it's not like we've done a couple one-off, projects for games, right? With FIFA, we've done work on all the FIFA titles for Electronic Arts for the last 14 years. And you don't do that by accident. It's the quality the team produces consistently that keeps our clients happy. And we have some of the top clients in games globally, right? Ubisoft, Rockstar, Electronic Arts, Gameloft, Scopely. These are all major game developers. And they stay with us and they want to do more with us because of the quality the team really brings on board. So, speaking of quality, Vishar, most people will tell you all the awards Vishar has won over the years, except Vishar. So I won't talk about all the awards you've gotten as an artist, because I don't want to embarrass you. But why don't you talk a little bit about yourself, not just your title, but your role, like what you do at Technicolor, how you feel it's different, or some of the things you enjoy.
ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ. ಭಾಳ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ನನ್ನ ಕಲಾವಿದರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರನ್ನ ನೋಡಿ. ಸೊ my journey started as an artist. So for me, I wanted to give life to my characters. So I came from a traditional background. So it was very fascinating for me that in the gaming industry you can give life to your character, you can tell a story. That was really fascinating for me. So that's where I got into Technicolor and got inspired with my colleagues and slowly started learning digital art, and slowly I climbed up the ladder. So I currently work as an art director. And my day-to-day activity is more creative. I spend a lot of time with creative artists. It's all about, how do we make the art to the next level? How do we give artistic experience for the spectator or who is playing the game? How do we create that fascinating world into a realistic world? So that is how my everyday goes with. And it's about give and take kind of a thing. We have a lot of talented artists who always crave to take the artwork to the very next level. That's how we are known for.
Yeah, and a lot of artists do join so they can learn from you. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, really important. And we do have sort of a learning culture, and we support each other, and it is a very collaborative team. And that's important. And, one of the things we hear consistently when we poll employees across Technicolor Creative Studios is work-life balance. That is one of the things that's very important to them and that we do have. And I think that's probably why we have people like you and Selvam that have been on board for, 16 years or more. There's a lot of people that have been on board a really long time. And then, I'm sure you've all heard of attrition, but usually in the hiring that we do, we get about 20% of those are rehires for us. So they're people that thought maybe the grass would be greener on the other side and found out it wasn't true and felt welcome enough to come back. And be back in sort of the team with their friends and all the social glue that really holds people together. So Annika, why don't you tell us a little bit about your role, maybe some of the projects you've enjoyed working on the most, or anything you think might be relevant to life at Technicolor Games.
For me, life at Technicolor has been only colorful. I've been here for almost 10 years, and I don't even know where the time flew by. The only thing that stuck through in the last 10 years is the culture that we have created from our, with the leaders that we have, the ones that you saw here speaking. They are the pioneers of setting the culture, and that's what sets us apart from most of the gaming studios or the animation studios within India. I take immense pride in leading that. As a senior producer, I have worked with Vichar, Bhanu, Sangu, Selvam, Preeti. They're all industry veterans. They've all stuck here for 15 years, and that speaks a lot in terms of culture, in terms of our values. Projects, like I said in my intro, I've worked with continuously 11 seasons of FIFA, and that just feels like something that is just Technicolor owned by now, because we've been there from their first season with us, and now for every production that they work with, they always reach out to Technicolor. It feels like more of a partnership than a client-vendor relationship. Some of the titles that we really enjoyed working were like Anthem, because more than me, my husband is a gamer, and he plays, and he's like, how did you guys do this? He sees these immense graphics that we worked on. Our animation team worked on the Anthem cinematics, and it's just wonderful to see people appreciate it, and that gives me immense pride to be related to this industry, to this company. So yeah, that is my role, and sticking here for 10 years has only been lovely, and I look forward to 10 more years of working with games.
Yeah, and one of the things we try to do is really empower the team, and we want to give people autonomy. So if you need to get to point X, it's really up to them how they do that. And autonomy and flexibility are really important on the team. And but being empowered still involves employees having to step up, right? Having to take that leap, because anyone inside a company can have an impact. You don't have to have a specific title. You don't have to have a specific role. There's never going to be a perfect time where someone just sort of rolls out a red carpet and invites you to talk about what things that matter and things where you think you can make a difference. And so within the team, we've tried fostering an environment that is safe for people to exchange ideas, and where the team does feel empowered. And so you get some really terrific creative things that come out of that you probably wouldn't have gotten if you had ordered those as an assignment, right? So one example is we were talking about how we can upskill our existing team and how important that is, and also to provide, clear career paths. And so Vishar pitched to me his idea on Elevate, which is great. No one asked him to do it. He just decided to do it because he knew there was a gap, right? And you want to hire and foster people who, when they see a gap in the team, they fill that gap. And so we're rolling out Elevate to the team for the upskilling. But, it took a bit of a risk, right? Yep. You had to have a little bit of courage to come forward and say, hey, Janine, I have this idea, and I have this deck, and I want to walk you through it.
Yes.
Right. But that's part of the culture that we really tried to create, as well as, again, work-life balance, challenging, and we're really always trying to fit people with the things that they enjoy doing and the things that they're good at. It's really that cross-section. And, for those of you who might be students in here, you don't always know what you want to do, so don't be afraid to try several different things. I think most of us got here, maybe not, there wasn't a plan, a perfect linear plan that got us here, but it helps to try different things and see what you enjoy and what you're good at. And then, of course, there's some luck and opportunity involved as well. But what else would you say about our culture?
One thing that we all faced 2 years ago was the pandemic, right? We are still in it. We are not out of it. I'm sure most of the companies would have taken measures, but something that Technicolor did, which we all, I think, never imagined we could work remotely. Because we are bound by so many NDAs working on these amazing AAA titles, we could never think working outside of office within the security bounds was even possible. And I'm just amazed at how Technicolor IT or admin team, along with creatives and production, took this step, and it was all seamless. They enabled us to work smoothly. The clients were more than happy because their work continued coming in. They were very supportive during the little bit of downtime that people had. But I'm just eternally grateful to how Technicolor took care of their employees in the tough times. be it, giving resources or giving some time off if you want. That's just one of the big examples which speaks to our culture a lot. And that's something that speaks a lot about the company. Not many company did those. I mean, Janine and I were talking and she was mentioning her previous company which did not even think about it. And then when they heard us doing it, they wanted to implement the same thing. So that's really setting up a benchmark for the rest of the companies to follow.
Yeah, and I think, the interesting part about that was it's not like the employees were asking for certain things. Being a people-first company means like you take action sometimes to help your people or protect your people without them asking for it first.
Yeah.
So just from the last company I worked for where they didn't pay for people's Wi-Fi and other costs that are significant, if you're living in Eastern Europe, it's a significant amount of money to pay monthly. Even though it was they repeatedly asked for it. And I was really impressed that coming on board with Technicolor, that's just something that they covered automatically. Of course, you're going to have higher Wi-Fi costs. Here you go. Here's what we're willing to give you monthly to cover those costs. It was also really interesting to see, too, how, during the pandemic, Technicolor was able to get in vans on campus to actually get people vaccinated who wanted to be vaccinated. And some of the team were telling one of our top clients that, Ubisoft, and they actually thought it was a great idea, and they pitched it internally, and then they rolled it out, because that's what we had done as a company. So I think there's a lot of things that Technicolor does right that we can really be proud of, that really drives, a people-first culture, right? Because it's all about the action more than the words. Yeah. Anything you have to add to that, Vishal?
Yeah, I think it's very, as in students, if you are looking for getting into Technicolor, it's one of the creative, studio which you can get in. And as an example, I didn't know what is computer. I started from there. You could see the journey, how, I come to this role. And the management is so supportive. They always, not only just by work, they give inspiration to grow as an artist. We have a lot of internal competition. We make sure that, artist is having the juice of creativity to take it to the next level. So we always do training, as Janine was telling. So how do we make artists to the next level? How do we facilitate that kind of creative, a platform for the artist? Because every artist wants to push their skill to the very next level. We always value that, and we always help the artist to grow into their career path. Also, we also mentor them, and we have wonderful leadership team always supporting. Like when we had pandemic time, the leaders used to always support the artist and understand what they want and how do we take the quality to the next level. We never saw that as a barrier at all. We always stood for quality and creativity. So it's a wonderful thing, because as an artist, I got a wonderful opportunity to work with one of the best creative artists in the country. So yeah, that is what is the experience here. And moreover, it's gaming. It's even more fun. And we always not only work, we spend a lot of time playing games also. We encourage that also. We have a game room, so
we
people
get paid for playing games.
Yes.
It's homework.
So we encourage everything. It's not just work. It's more of enjoying art. We are not creating anything, rocket science or anything. We are creating art. We are enjoying it. That's how the culture is. We always enjoy what we create. That would reflect on our reels, our works. That's why the client come back saying that, hey, I love the spirit, and I love the vision of your team. I would like to continue more next season. This is how we build our team. That's the culture in Technicolor.
Right, and I think it's important too that we are the demographic for our clients' products. So I do typically try to hire gamers in all of the roles. I've been a gamer since age 7. Although I don't fight over the controller with my brother anymore, I've moved beyond that. But I think it is important. And then, because you can talk to clients too at a different level when you really understand their game, and it's something you're actively playing in a way that, some other groups can't, right? If it really is just more of a homework, or they read the Kotaku or GamesBeat to just kind of stay up abreast of things. So yeah, I think actually, being part of that target demographic is really important. And, I think like anything, Everyone really wants a place to work where they add value and they feel that their contributions are valued and they have support. And so that's what we really try to foster internally. That's why we have internal sort of art competitions, and sometimes we're surprised by how much better somebody has grown as an artist in the last 3 years. We didn't know. And it's work that we wouldn't have given them internally if we had not known that they've been doing something on their own time, and now they're amazing at certain types of artistry. So, anything else about our company culture or the projects we're working on, or should we talk a little bit about where we're going?
We can't really talk about the projects that we are working on, but the top 10 AAA titles that you see on the internet, we would have done work on at least 60% of them. And those are repetitive clients for us. And we continue with our new plan of growing and expanding into various continents. We are also dwelling into QA and co-development as well. Probably, Janine, you want to talk?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it easy, right? When we have art, that's the beginning part of the funnel in the game development cycle, and companies are so happy with that. And then the next stage is game development. And they usually want fewer companies to manage, external companies to manage to do that work. So we've actually been asked by a number of companies if we'd be willing to do, game development with them, if we'd be willing to do QA with them. So we are starting a small QA org that's currently being built out in Montreal, but we also have space set aside here in Bangalore for that. So those are really the first two we're getting off the ground this year in terms of quality assurance and game development, both super exciting. So we will be opening in additional locations, but still, like I said, the majority of the people at Technicolor Games really will continue to be based in India. It's not just Bangalore anymore. We have folks in Mumbai and Delhi and Kolkata. But yeah, the India piece is really critical for us. And clients love the quality.
True.
And it makes it easy, right, to have good relationships with our clients and to go into different service lines when we have 10 years, 12 years, 14 years of consistent quality delivery with that client. So that's something I think we can be proud of.
Yep.
Yeah. Also diversity. DEI is very important to us, so we're always looking for diverse candidates. So keep that in mind if some of you are here and potentially looking for work. And I think that's kind of why we want to talk a little bit about life at Technicolor, so you can get a sense of what it's like in the hopes that some of you here may want to actually join us on the journey. And so if you do, we will be at the Technicolor booth after this talk and can answer any questions you might have then. But we're definitely open to answering any questions the audience might have at this time.
We have one question there.
No microphone.
Can someone pass the mic?
A very good morning. It was nice to hear your story. And what was the challenge you faced during work from home in last 2 years due to pandemic? And I wanted to know, many similar companies of IT/BT, they are adopting now hybrid mode, as still the pandemic is not rest. So do Technicolor still continue with hybrid mode? How is that one? And what are the challenges during hybrid mode or work from mode you face? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well, I think Annika and Vishar might answer the question better in terms of what things were like during the pandemic, since they were sort of here. I think that we weren't really set up for doing remote work. So it took a while, like many companies, it took us a while to sort of get workstations out to people. And then currently we are in a hybrid model because our clients are okay with that. And then obviously with something like quality assurance, that's typically done in a lab that's secure because of the risk, right? You can see the whole game build. There's much more risk at play. So I imagine those will move back to the studio sooner than other service lines. But right now the clients have been very happy with what we've been able to accomplish working remotely. I think everyone knows without the commute and the office chit chat, I think the output is higher, but you're missing something. And it's the social connection is what they found in the research. And I know personally for me that was very, very tough to not have anyone to talk to. I thought I was kind of more of an introvert. So I went to Europe where things were open. And I could see my colleagues and I could sit down with them. Because it's tough working remotely. It's not for everybody. I like to see people. But I think that, at least for games, I think we need to, remain flexible with our work. And that's what we have in Bangalore. It's very much a flexible model because that's what has been working. And that is what people want. And we really want to be able to attract top talent. So any other question? Did I answer it? Okay.
Yeah, hi, good morning, ma'am. This side.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, myself, Nevi Charan. So I'm a faculty from Media Technology from Manipal Institute of Technology. So we have some students who are interested in the media subjects like animation, visual effects, and all those things. So to get into Technicolor, so what are the basic skill sets you look for? So to hire them or to give some internship in the projects, what you offer. So I would like to know that.
Sure. Did you want to take that one in terms of basic skills?
Yeah. It's everyone wants to get into Technicolor, so we always encourage the three major things. One is eye for aesthetic, understanding of art, and a good portfolio. These three things is very important. So rest we have internal training what we do. So we encourage those things also. As a student, mainly we need to know that they're well versed with all the other genres in gaming. It could be modeling, texturing, a little bit about game engine. So they should be knowing a little bit of everything.
Any specific softwares you suggest them to know the basics of it?
I suggest they should know all the game softwares. It will be way easier. But more backbone should be more of art. So if they are very strong in art, the tools is secondary. So mainly focus on more of how do we get that aesthetic eye. That is what is important. That will take a lot of years to master it. So if that has been done in a very early stage, so they can easily get into the job and they can grow faster.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And would you recommend, Maya over 3D Studio Max, or would you just say, hey, it depends on the client? So it's really good to know both.
Just
client
would
dependent.
just say ZBrush all the way. He would just say ZBrush all the way.
Yeah. No, the thing is, it depends upon the client to client, but it's always good to know, Maya, Max. The basic of polygon modeling, it could be in any other software, and ZBrush, Substance Painter, Marvelous Designer, and Houdini, and World Machine. So all this, and it'll be great if you know more of Unity, Unreal. It's not about mastering it. At least you should know the a little bit of bird view of those software, so that based on the project we will be training it.
So one thing we do, because we know not everybody starts out with those skills, is that we do offer academies, right, where you can enter and then you can learn for 3 months something very specific. And then after that 3 months, the team then normally trains you on, project-specific type things. If they're going to put you on an EA project or a Rockstar project, they train you on very project-specific things. And then you're on the floor. You might only be billable originally at 30%. But, we do have an academy training program for that. And that's something that Technicolor Studios also has and has done for many, many years, and they're very proud of. And they do that realizing people may go through that and then work for Technicolor or go off to a competitor, but it's still the right thing to do to the industry because we just don't have enough artists at different levels for all the work that we have. So we've turned down a lot of work, in the last 6 months just from not having all the artists that we need. So it's really an investment in people. Any other questions? Oh.
Right.
Oh, is there one down there?
Mike.
Do you have any questions? Somebody has.
I think we have a question.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, on the end.
Hello. Yeah, hi. Very good morning, everyone. Myself, Kshadit Sharma. I'm from Whistling Woods, program head for the visual effects, and have a keen interest towards the gaming as well as in animation. So I have two questions. One, what is the mission and vision of a Technicolor Games? Where exactly they are looking forward to the future? How exactly will it be in the coming days? And the second, beyond the technical expectations, what are the other qualities that you are looking for the new talent in terms of consuming as an artist in your gaming department? So rather than understanding any technical software of a Maya, Blender, blah, 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 what are the other elements, other qualities that you are looking for bright talent?
Yeah, I mean, we're really looking for candidates that are passionate about games and that are collaborative. They're going to work well with the existing team. They're going to want to learn. They're going to want to share what they know with other team members. And, you know, currently, we're mainly just focused on art right now, but we're building QA out, and we'll be building game development later this year in terms of the service lines. But our goals really are to continue to be an employer of choice in India, right? And when we open other sites, that'll be true as well. We really want to be an employer of choice, not because we have to, because we want to. And so we do look at how do we compare to other companies out there in terms of culture, in terms of benefits, and things like that. But it's really to grow our games business beyond art into several other service lines that our current clients have specifically asked for. And then we'll add some more next year as well till we really have all of the core service lines filled, all based on what our clients have asked for. That's really driving this. Okay. Thumbs up. He doesn't have a mic anymore. Okay. Okay, anyone else? Okay.
Just this, in general, I am asking because just now in opening remarks, Biren told that our country is now, Prime Minister has recognized AVGC industry as sunrise and potential revenue and employment generation. So just I wanted to know, in other countries where Technicolor are located, how the country looks as AVGC industries in general, like other where you have locations like Canada, UK and all. How that country looks as AVGC industry?
You want to answer?
Just in very general.
I'm not sure if you got the question, but I'll try to answer it for you. Technicolor, like you know, is already based in Europe, Asia, and many other continents. Why they think India is the center? Because they understand the potential we have got. To repeat Biren's points, he sees the talent here. There's a lot of potential here. There's amazing students and amazing colleges that we have. There's a lot of potential here, and the people in, like you said, the industries set up in Canada, Europe, America, they all understand that this is the next big area where they can invest. And Technicolor, before anybody, Technicolor understands that. And we are planning to grow from a 6,000 member to 11,000 in the coming few years. So they see the potential, they are willing to make more leadership within India, give us the backing that we need. And I think hopefully you'll see many more Technicolor offices within India.
Yeah, I couldn't quite hear all of your questions, so thanks, Annika. But I mean, we're focusing on India because we feel like that's where there's already a ton of talent. Some of them untapped, some of them need to be trained for very specific things. And then it's also, I think, very much the culture and the attitude of the India people that also really help drive things forward as a business. So for example, with quality assurance, when you have hardware and you're testing games, what's best for the client is if you can run multiple shifts for different time zones. And that's something you can do from India because people are willing to do that. They're happy to do that. And in other countries, there's bigger issues with just lack of interest and things like that. And it makes those countries less competitive, for example. And it was always hard. Before joining Technicolor, I'd never had the privilege of working at a company that had any operations in India. And I know how hard that is to compete against it. Right? Also, Pull to Win, which is in India, they can match any time zone anyone wants all over the world, by doing it in India. It's one of the few places you can do that. The talent's here, but the attitude is here. And people want to work, people want to get things done.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hello,
I
ma'am.
swear we have not planted these questions.
I'm Rashmi from Arana Animation. I'm a science graduate, so I want to know how much science knowledge is used during your work, and what are the job opportunities for science graduates in your field?
Well, science is a pretty big umbrella. It would help to know more specifically. I mean, I would think a physics background
Physics
could
and
help.
mathematics in particular?
Oh, okay.
I think there is a lot of opportunity for that. It goes hand in hand, art and science, or else it won't be, so fun. So yes, there is a lot of opportunity for, if you are coming from science background. So we have VFX, we do simulation in a realistic way. So we need to understand the science, how it reacts, how the particle plays. So those knowledge is being applied over there. So we have a lot of, openings for, who has science background. So you have to create the shader, how it reacts to the real world. So we look for those, key things also.
Yeah, and I think it's also, there's value in having a team that's not homogenous, right? So when someone has a background that no one else does, they're going to come in with a different perspective. They may question the team's assumptions more. And they just, I always think it's interesting when you have someone with a different background coming into, say, an art team where you have a background in physics. There's a lot that you can actually add with that. Just having a different viewpoint and challenging assumptions is sometimes the best thing you can do.
And to that also, we I encourage for game engine. We look for more science background people to help us out to develop the entire world and everything. So there's a lot of opportunity. It's a blend of both art and science, goes in hand in hand. So we encourage for those people also.
All right.
Hi. Hi.
I think we have time for just one last question.
Okay.
So this is going to be the last.
My name is Anand, and when the credits roll in any of these Hollywood movies, we see majorly the Indian names in the roto section. Is that our specialization, or is there anything else which we are specializing?
That's specialized, but that's more, I think, on the film and episodic side.
Yeah.
I mean, we have our own credits in games, but that's more in terms of 3D artists and things like that.
In gaming, we start from concept to the end, this thing. So we have credit in all the things. We are experts in all the genres, all the departments.
My question was specific to movies. So is that the only specialization we do in India, or
no?
Is there anything else? That's what we see. So that's the question.
It depends upon the project, what they have the client has come from. But more than me, there are a lot of other panels who's specifically talking about the movies. I think they could answer better. So I will leave it for them.
Yeah, there is an MPC panel, and they are the ones, because they handle film and episodic, they'd probably have much more knowledge at a granular level that you're looking for than we do in games.
Thank you.
It is different. It's different skill set.
Thank you.
So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, could we have a huge round of applause, please? I think we had a fantastic and a fiery start for our Bengaluru Gafx 2022. Thank you. Thank you so much. And on that note, it's now time for us to introduce our next session. This is the Fireside Chat, the future of national and regional cinemas. Now, cinema, as we know, has changed in the last few years. Through the pandemic, it was the art of cinema and television that kept a lot of us going. And not just films like Ludo, Sardarudham on a national level, but also on a regional level such as Jai Bhim, Joji, etc. Now, with the new normal being the definition that constantly changes, where does the future of Indian cinema lie? Now, to discuss the same, we're going to be having a nice fireside chat. I would like to invite our moderator on stage, Mr. Biren Ghosh. Could we have a big round of applause for Mr. Biren, please? We have our speakers, Madhu Mantena, our Indian film producer and entrepreneur. A big, big round of applause, please, as I would request Mr. Madhu Mantana to please join us on stage, and Mr. Chaluve Gowda, a director for Hombale Group. Brain, over to you.
Hi everyone, this is my great pleasure to bring a real stalwart all the way from Mumbai. People in the Mumbai film industry don't really want to be called Bollywood, but we say that with great affection. He's from the Indian film industry and not restricted, I think, to things in Mumbai. So may I ask Madhu to briefly introduce himself and a little bit about his journey, and then I have some questions for you if it's okay. Mic on. Tap it. Just tap the top. Tap it. No?
Hi everyone. Thanks Biren for having me. When PC asked me to come to a gaming and FX conference, I got very excited. Being from the film business, while I'm a South Indian boy from Hyderabad and I've been in Bombay for 20 years. KGF has just woke up all of us from our slumber, showing us that the last 5 years audience has changed. The new generation of audience that's coming to the cinemas is very different from the audience and their tastes about a decade back. So I've been in the film business for the last 20 years. My first film was a South Indian remake called Gajani in Hindi, and then I started a couple of media companies. One is Phantom Films and another company called Collective, where we manage and work with talent to power their dreams. And we've been in the business of managing and working with talent basically from the film business, content business. But it's really exciting to be here. This is the new world, and I feel I missed the bus. I should have got into gaming 10 years back.
Well, Madhu, you know, it's never too late. There are some old people like the person sitting next to you who's just getting started. So I'd just like to start by saying that we are hoping that Gafx and your visit to Bangalore and to the Center of Excellence will change the vocabulary for you a little bit. And I'd like to be a little provocative by saying that we should stop saying filmmaking, because there is no film anymore. So we should call it image making, because the industry, and I think this is it's very, very important to have you here, because you mentioned you mentioned Gajani already. So how does someone like yourself mount a project? Because even at that time, it was a large budget, big actor, distribution in India is never as big as many parts of the world. Getting money back has been challenging in the last 20 years. I think China adds the number of screens that we have totally every year and has gone to something like maybe 40 times the number of screens that we have. You can actually release a movie in 11 or 15,000 screens there. If it fails, you get your money back, right? So let me start by saying, what's the process for you? How can people here who want to make the next big movie using the new technologies of image making come to Madhu and say, I have this big idea? Or if you have a big idea, how will you cast it? How do you go to people? And we'll talk about animation and things later on, but how do you actually put that blueprint that takes you to making something bold and new and adventurous? And what's your secret sauce?
That's a lot of questions, but let me try and answer them. See, filmmaking is nothing but curation, right? A producer is a curator. So as a producer, I'm constantly listening to ideas and stories, and we are trying to correlate, because it's commercial storytelling, which means all the forms of storytelling come together and it's a collaborative work, and it comes with its own private financing because it's a commercial art. You're trying to correlate the width of the story to your idea of what the audience wants to watch. Right? Many times, while people remember me for my successes, there have been many times where you listen to a story and you don't know if you've been able to correlate it. And then, like I famously produced a film called Bombay Velvet. I grew up being a big fan of the westerns, and Manmohan Desai to even from the West, various films on underworld. And for me, Tommy guns and action and all of that was huge. We grew up with films like Once Upon a Time in America and Goodfellas and various other things. And then you one day wake up and you make a big film and you realize nobody knows this world, nor do they relate with this world, nor they're interested in seeing this world, nor they're interested in seeing these characters. And hence, nobody goes to see the film.
If you were,
and that happens every decade.
If you were to make Bombay Velvet for the streaming channels today, would the outcome have been any different?
No.
Because you're exploring new genres.
So I don't believe that, because I feel that's wrong curation. Right? Because curation needs to be what the audience wants to watch. And the truth of the matter is that entertainment is a below 45 necessity. Above 45, above 35. So if you see the audience on OTT, or if you see the audience that's going to the theaters, they're the same. So if there's a 60 million universe of OTT adopters, I think that audience is very similar to theatrical. But I think what's happening on OTT is that there's no accountability. Because the OTT platforms haven't started sharing data, right, as to who's watching them. Once that happens, I think my suspicion is that both the audience is the same. So if film doesn't work in theaters, I think it's not working on OTT. But yes, there may be a certain amount, there may be a certain content that you're not willing to go and invest 3.5, 4 hours to go to a theater to watch it. But you're happy to break it up and watch parts of it every night. But that still, see, content today is infinite, right? And the reason that VFX and storytelling has become important, and like you say, not filmmaking, image making is becoming more and more important, is because you need to stand out. And if you want to stand out, you cannot rely on the same old imagery that people are now used to. You want to excite them, you want to challenge their senses in some form. So, and hence we've seen the growth. And I think the youth also needs more engagement, and hence gaming, which is more interactive. So if you see storytelling formats of a lot of successful films, they're faster, they're more engaging, they're not waiting to give you the backstory, they're not waiting to explain themselves, because I think audiences has become more smarter. So yeah, it starts with the story and then putting together a team like you would do in gaming or in any other business, right? It's about finding the right team to tell that story in all its glory.
In the past, there has been more and more restrictions of what you can do by the restriction of a camera.
Today, if you can imagine, you can see it.
Today, I think where this conference and the people that are part of this industry, which 10 or 15, when you made Gajni, this part of the industry was 2.5% of India's total revenue. Today it has crossed 11. And the pandemic has seen games, for example, grow quite a lot, from 240 million to some 560 million people. Online games, have unicorns. Bangalore's first unicorn in our industry is one of our sponsors. And how is that going to change your approach to curating films? I know that you're involved in, I think, 1 or 2 large animated feature, I don't know if it's feature or episodic, but those kind of projects.
A few of my colleagues are sitting here, Krishna and PC. So what we are trying to do, what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to do what Amar Chitragada did.
Right.
Which is socially bring back Indian mythology into the lives of young Indians, right? I don't think it's necessary any longer to do that in form of just a television series. I think you can do that as spectacles. Also, maybe for the first time, technology has come to a place where we can depict what was written in these epics, right? So if you see the descriptions of either some of the Valmiki or Vedavyas or various other greats, we were never able to depict that because technology didn't allow it. So I think there is a opportunity in the time and space to redo that. And I think it's no longer restricted to just content, right?
And also geography.
I don't think it's centered, yeah.
Because today, I mean,
I produce
in the past we
sacred
made
games.
movies for our audiences which were, either defined by language or defined by region. But today, in the kind of project that you're talking about, are you looking to mount this as a project that can travel the world?
Absolutely. So I think when we made Sacred Games, it kind of opened our eyes. And I produced that, and 2/3 of the audience came from overseas, non-Indian, non-diaspora audience. Today, if you see content viewing habits, I think for the same reason of needing more engagement, I think you're happier consuming content in their original milieus, with their original languages, with the original culture, because tourism is no longer just enough. Because aspirational, just going to a place, seeing something is no longer enough. You want to, I think the whole world is changing into experiential things, and hence content like ours, I think, thanks to distribution of content. So let me tell you a small story. So I've had films at Cannes, right? I've won an award at Cannes. One of the films I produced won an award at Cannes. But those films never traveled. And we used to win these big prizes in Cannes and celebrate, because you're actually hoping that at the end of the award, distributors are going to come to you and your film will reach its maximum audience. But that doesn't happen because distribution previously of content was not worldwide, it was geographical. So you were pushing content to the largest audience of that area and their tastes, right?
So, but now I think with video on demand that's changed. And hence I think this is the first time that content is actually traveling. More people maybe will see a small show that we make today than the biggest of such as films that travel the world. Right? Even if you correct it for other.
And do you see that, for example, in these large projects that you're looking, from an animation perspective, can they be more than an animated film? Can they be at the same time, looking at other spaces? Could there be a VR piece out of that? Could they be working, as AR, working together with brands and stuff like that? We've got the mascot for this event, which is David wearing a VR glass, right? And that is symbolic of what people like you
that's a great image.
Right?
That's a great image.
Because you need to get metaverse ready, which means that you need to be able to take the same creation, the same curation, if you like, right? Let's call it design for simplicity, and make sure that it is designed for alternate footprints that can actually emerge at the same time. And that's the beauty of image making and not just film making.
So see, let me just say that being on a stage like this and making a statement to so many people, I need to be a little responsible. So I need to say that I don't understand gaming. I'm working with people like PC to understand it further. And one of the reasons that I'm here is to understand where the world is going, right? And this is where the world is going. There's no doubt about where the world is going. And with data becoming easier, and there's no doubt that the hundreds of years of cinema going, which may have been the largest technological advancement which happened 110 years ago, which this whole projection, we've only had improvements in it, right? So we were listening to stories around the fire, right? Why do we like community story sessions? It's there in our genes.
It came from the village square.
Yeah, and before that, around a fire, when you sat around a fire and you exchanged stories, right? So it's in our genes, and hence you like going to a theater and watching a story with a community, right? Which is why theaters haven't gone out of business, even though we send that content home. But I don't know if you any longer need to go to a theater to feel part of the community, which is what I think technology is doing. You can enjoy technology and viewing today, maybe in other forms, or tomorrow in other forms.
The biggest trending story currently is esports, where you will actually see
absolutely
a whole different way of people getting together in an auditorium that's not the auditorium, it's not the Wankhede Stadium, right?
Absolutely. But I'm saying, let's wait on it. Sometimes I feel the only thing that I'll say is that I remember, and I've seen a few of these technology jumps, and I remember when I started my career about 17, 18 years back, the internet had already come in, the .com boom was here, right? And you remember that boom. And that boom, I remember a lot of my friends going and buying internet rights of movies.
Yes.
Right? Because satellite had just happened and everybody was going around buying internet rights of movies. Now, for those movies and those rights that you bought or the energy that you put in, it took 15, 20 years for you to actually, where the community, society, technology, and everything came together. So, what I believe is that if you're a young person and if you want to believe, is this where my career is going? Is this a place that I should invest my time? Yes. But if you're a businessman and you want to be in this business and you want to see it, you have to first start building the building blocks. I kind of see that happening with Web3 right now. Which is, yes, but one day at a time, one step at a time. We shouldn't, because great ideas can get delayed if you put unnecessary pressure on them. So I feel there's a lot of pressure on them.
RRR, Bahubali 2, KGF 2. Would you, if someone had come to you with that proposal or that project, would you have made it? And if so, why? And why do you think it's caught fire and really made numbers that didn't seem possible 5 years or 7 years ago?
I think it's YouTube communication, awareness. See, Rajamouli is a great filmmaker, and I heard an interview of Prashant Neel, and he was talking about Ram Gopal Verma, who I worked with for about 10 years. And I'm from Hyderabad, right? So my sensibility is that of being able to understand Prashant's work or Rajmouli's work. So that question for me is a little different to answer, because it's easy to answer that I've always been a fan of Rajmouli's work. I got introduced to Prashant's work in KGF 1, but what he has done in KGF 2 has surpassed his work in KGF 1, and I think he was more empowered to be able to do exactly what he wants to do.
Great marketing as well. Great
But
marketing
see,
as well.
what is extremely important is not even KGF 2, is the opening of RRR, right? Because a decade ago, or about 5-6 years ago, before YouTube, and before the social media, and before information being so available, you wouldn't have had a chance to sample RRR to know that you want to go to the theater to see these two new boys who you haven't experienced in such mass quantity of people. You know what I'm saying? A 20 crore opening on a non-holiday Friday for RRR is a 40 crore opening on the day that KGF opened at about, people say it opened at 53 crores, but they're not calculating the Hindi South market. So I think while KGF opened 30% more and it's a bigger film, it's also a sequel. KGF, outstanding, great, but the fact that people, or Pushpa, the people are, today you can experience what you want to watch on your phone, and you can take the decision based on what you're seeing. So it's not only based on the reputation of the film, but it's based on just the content that you are watching. Many people don't want to acknowledge it, but Kashmir Files, even at that opening of a 3 crore opening a day, is more than many big stars openings in this country today. So people are seeing content and going for the content. So I think the dependence on reputation and the dependence on, and hence the brands that are behind it is reduced. So, and I hear in gaming it's the same way.
I have many questions, and I could keep you here all the time. But are there any questions from the audience that you have? Madhu here, he now no longer makes movies less than 1,000. How many crores? 100 crores, 200 crores. So I know that some of you want to pitch or ask a question. If you want to pitch, he gives the money to you. If you want to ask a question, then you give the money to us. All right, go for it. We got a mic in the front row, please. Yeah. Put your hand up. Yep. There we go. Yeah, can you put the mic on for the question, please? Mic number.
Okay.
There you go.
Hello. Yeah. Very good afternoon to both. First of all, congratulations for Madhu because you changed the game with Gajni. Earlier, the success rate box office was barometer was 100 days, silver jubilee or golden. But with 100 crore club, you initiated. Coming to
We
regional,
also made the first console game with Gajni with a company in Hyderabad which shut down. I forget its name.
No,
Proud of that.
that was the Gajni game. You were in Sunil Lulla's office. I was in Eros for 364 days and 3 hours. And the game was given to a guy called Rajesh Rao in Bangalore. And he made the game for Gajni. It was a very early attempt. It was, I won't say it's the most successful game, but it was
company big. It was called FX Labs.
FX Labs is there, but yes, correct. But we also worked with a company called Dhruva, which now has been acquired by Rockstar, which is one of the really, really big gaming companies that we helped incubate. But
Sorry,
that's
we
okay.
stopped
It's
you.
all right.
No
I was
problem.
just reminiscing about that.
Biren, to add on, it was also shot at ITPL where your Technicolor is located.
Yes, I know that.
That was, to add on.
I was in Mumbai at the time.
Okay, yes. Coming to now the success with Pushpa back-to-back in 4 months, Triple R and KGF. What I noticed is another change happened which lacking in Hindi is now they first announced the theatrical release date without the shooting even going on floors. But in South, the makers, the first until the product get ready, maybe tentatively in back end, the makers must be having some tentative release date, but in public domain, they will not come out. Some go other little head until it gets censored and having censor certificate, they won't come with the theatrical release. So this I find maybe some whatever now debate happening where the Hindi filmmakers should learn lessons from these 3 films. This I find some major gapping between the homework is somewhere lacking between Hindi and South. Can you just comment on this? Thank you.
See, I think somewhere Hindi has become too structured. We're supposed to be an independent film-making country, right? I think with the advent of corporates in the Bollywood, and because we are not accountable for the money that we are spending, and it's all financed by corporates, I think somewhere keeping your ear to the ground is gone. I'll tell you a very good example, right? A South Indian film starts marketing with songs. Hindi films start with trailers, right? Which is the most important piece. So we're starting with the most important piece and then going into diminishing value of pieces, right? While a South Indian film starts with the smaller pieces and then comes up with a theatrical trailer. It's a way of approach, right? Which approach is right? Not only because of success, I am able to see that the South Indian approach is better. It makes more logical sense. But did I wake up to it before the success? No. So I was sleeping, right? I was blind, right? I'm able to post, thank God for the data that's out there staring us in the faces, that we're re-looking at everything. We know Indian audiences go to the theater to watch songs. Bollywood is used to, because of the music rights that we sell, or the large revenue that you depend on the music rights in the corporate world to finance your films, you put out your entire song or large parts of your song in before the theatrical release, right? Which means those are available for YouTube for people's consumption before. So why do they need to go to the theater? If you see a South Indian song, they're just teasing you, like that Beast song. I mean, you want to go to the theater to watch that song. Even if you hear that the film is bad, you just want to go to the theater to see Vijay and that Pooja Hegde dancing to that song. Because you didn't get a full glimpse of that song. You still want to experience it. It's not available for you. I think somewhere like release dates, like you said, right? I think we're like that. We're like a political party that's lost touch with the crowd, right? And we're still saying the same old thing over and over again because it's worked for us in the past. But when data stares you in the face, you don't have a choice. If you need to survive, you need to get up and relook at everything.
Actually, Madhu, if you look at what Instagram influencers do, there is much that image makers need to learn from them, because their following is based on something they create and post themselves. They have all the analytics available at the back end of what they subscribe to. They know on a daily basis or on a weekly basis what is working for them and not working for them. Have we missed a trick in the filmmaking business where we probably have not spent, and I'm talking about the whole universe for a moment, not just some filmmakers, the rigor of the development of a story, the rigor of pre-visualization. In fact, this industry gives you the exact tools to see a film before it's made. So when we worked with Favreau and Disney for The Lion King, 8 people in a room with controllers in their hand actually locked the entire movie inside VR, right? Inside. So then you're making a highly efficient project after that.
Yes,
I remember that when briefly I was involved in Mumbai, and I think Sriram Ragan was making his first directorial debut with Agent Vinod at the time for Illuminati as it existed at the time. And we tried to suggest, because we had the iCube studio going, that hey, let's lock the entire film, right? Let's make a previs that everyone can see. You can run it, see where the money shot should go, where the action is, where are people getting excited, is the story arc moving in a certain way. But it wasn't really something that people wanted to do. Has that changed? Should that change? What is your process? What is your take on it?
So I'm making the Ramayana, which is supposed to be, which is pitted to be the most expensive film ever made in this country. So I don't have a choice but to do that, because we want to spend 1,000 crores taking Ramayana to the world, right? For me, it's a purpose. It's not a film. It's not a commercial enterprise. I feel I need to use all of the knowledge and success that I have to find a purpose for myself, and that happened to be doing the Ramayana and taking it to the world. So there's no economics to it. Now, even if I raise 1,000 crores to do that film, and thanks to my partners, which we are able to, we still don't have enough money to actually do the Ramayana, right? Because if I'm telling the Ramayana, it needs to be grander than Lord of the Rings, which was 10, 12 years back. So you need to go beyond. Without the pre-production tools, I don't think India can make spectacle, world-class products.
The culture to do that. The culture to do that also. It has to become.
But there's also something else to this. This thing to this is, for creative people, sometimes unless you are at the, it's a very, you need to find certain peace to be able to do that. If you're discovering yourself, for a lot of creative people, that kind of discipline only comes later in their years. In the early parts of their years, when they're making films or when they're doing their work, they do their best work when the gun is on them. In the last minute. They are not able to perform at their best when the deadline is not hitting them, the actor's not thinking about his performance before he's coming to the thing, the director's not thinking about the drama before. So,
the actor is deciding to change the script for tomorrow.
I mean, those kind of things don't really happen, but when they do happen, I think sometimes it leads to better work. And I was sitting with Mr. Allu Arjun, and I was talking to him about the process. If you see South Indian films shoot for 125 days, 130 days, 140 days, right? And coming from Bollywood, I kind of feel, why does it take so many days to shoot a film? Right? It's a 2-hour film. Why can't you finish it in 60 days? Now, do I want to make 10 films in 60 days? Or do I want to make one Pushpa for 125 days? I don't need to answer that question, right? So I think it's about the team and it's about their comfort. It's about what you want to do, how do you want to reach there. There are different routes to reach there. Some may be more expensive, but more. So, when the truth of the matter is, I don't know the answer of this question because it's something that I'm constantly trying to figure out.
I think, Madhu, your candor is infectious. I think that's the right way to approach a creative process is to start with the I don't know and then have a journey of discovery. I know I'm getting signals from there because we're out of time. You can catch Madhu as he walks out, but all the very best for the Ramayana. I think we would love to have you whenever you're ready. Maybe release the first look at Gafx next year, and come with the team and celebrate it because we're going to have a few thousand.
I want to attend some sessions and learn something today.
That'll be fantastic.
Thanks.
You're going to see a fantastic session in the making of Disney's Cruella after this. But Madhu, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for having me here.
Madhu, thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for that fantastic fireside chat. Could we have a big round of applause once again for our moderator, Biren, and our guest, Madhu Mantena. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, it's now time for us to head towards the making of the award-winning film, Disney's Cruella. An award-winning live-action film capturing the rebellious early days of the infamous Cruella devil set in 1970s London. Cruella, I have to say, was a visual treat. And to tell us what went into the making of the film, we have with us someone who has been part of the VFX industry for over 18 years. She currently heads creative operations for MPC and is responsible for overseeing and managing the creative output from Bangalore studio. We have Ms. Payal Vijay Selvam, head of creative operation MPC VFX, and joining her is Mr. Subhashish Banik, head of texturing MPC VFX. He was the lead texturing artist on The Lion King and Love and Monster, as well as the asset supervisor for shows including The Lion King 2 and Rescue Ranger. Armed with over 15 years of industry experience, he works with assets specializing in texturing and look Dave. So could we have a huge round of applause as I invite both of them on stage.
Hello everyone. So I think we already had our set of introductions. So once again, my name is Payal.
Hello everyone. It's great to be here on the very first day of Gafx. My name is Subhashish and I am the head of texturing for MPC. And I'm honored to present the making of Cruella.
Right before that, we wanted to take you guys through the MPC VFX reel, our latest and greatest work. So let's get cracking. That has been our work through the years, and some amount of it from 2021, when most of us were working from home. So coming on to Cruella, I'll give a little brief about what the film was. So we did have an understanding on how the look and the feel of the project should be. Although there was a lot of work which our post-production teams had done to understand what the backdrop of the film is. So to start with, the movie is staged in 1970s, back in London, when there was a pink rock movement which was very active then. Also, I think most of you are aware that this is one of our Disney's favorite villain characters, which is Cruella Vil. There was a lot of hard work done by our post-production teams. They took into consideration all the references that they collected, that how people would look, act, their lifestyles, how the props, how the environment looked when London was there back in 1970s. So heavy work when it came to assets. There are many characters, many environments which are built. Almost 60 odd props were made, 8 large environments. And when it came to costumes, you'll see when we play the reel, Cruella is wearing 5 enormous costumes, I'd say. And 3 of them were quite complex to be built. One of them is where a nice white cape turns into flames of fire, then transforming into a beautiful red dress. Other one is a garbage dress that she's wearing, with this nicely floating around at the back of the truck. And the third one is where thousands of mammoths, it's nice chrysalis dress, and the mammoths, they kind of hatch through, and the moths are kind of flying around. So you'll see all of that work, and I have Shubhashish along with me, so he's going to talk more onto the assets bits, how the model texture and the look dev was done, and I'll pick up on the VFX bits of the shots. So can we have the Cruella breakdown, please? All right. I'll request the team to play it and pause it as we had discussed, but without sound this time, please. So I can go shot done shot and break it down for the audience. All right, so this is the opening shot. The director was very specific with regard to how the castle looked, and they actually found a nice, beautiful country house. Sorry? Okay, I'm going to just carry on. All right, so the director found a nice country house back in Europe, although he wanted a little larger castle, and then we had to build one additional story there. So in this shot, all of the foreground is the way the plate is. It's live action. And everything at the back you see is created through environments and 3D DMP team. So if you move forward in the shot, you'll see some vehicles. We had a comm team add the lights there. And as I was discussing, we've added an additional story in here. All of the plate work this is all live action, although the inside of the lights and all of the work, if you see a little ahead forward, is created by a 3D DMP team. The additional challenge in this specific shot was that there was a lot of parallax, and all of that work had to be incorporated between these holes. So yeah, partly CG, it's a hybrid shot as we call it, and it had its own set of challenges because of the parallax. Banik, you want to take over with the pup?
Yeah. So, I mean, the most challenging part for this movie was creating the dogs. So we created 8 dogs. And, I mean, in terms of creating, building animals, I mean, MPC is undoubtedly the leader. I mean, we have worked in Lion King and Jungle Book, and we have a very strong workflow and techniques in place which are inbuilt to create ultra-realistic animals. But for this movie, it was really challenging because we were not only building animals, but we were building DG doubles of the animals. Because, I mean, real dogs were used to shoot the film, and the director wanted the real dogs to be there in the shots. And in certain shots, he wanted it to be turned to CG, because as you know, the dogs don't act as the director wanted. So it was not possible to act, I mean, using the real dogs. So there were CG replacements, and there were shots where, I mean, in between the real shoot will be replaced by CG. So that was a real challenge because we needed to match exactly with the real footage and the real dogs. So that was really challenging for us. We'll explain more on this. Yeah. So as you can see here, so real dogs were initially used for the running sequence, but later on it was
taken over by the CG.
By the CG dogs. I mean, we had photogrammetry and we had scans, but you know, right? I mean, from modeling itself, we face challenges because these are furry creatures, and you cannot judge the exact shapes and all because there is fur. Even in the scan, the fur will show up. So we had to do quite a lot of research in terms of animal anatomy, dogs anatomy, and get the real features and all for the dogs. Yeah, I think we can play.
Yeah.
Can you play
move forward? All right. I think while the reel plays, so the dogs, the Dalmatians as such, as a breed, they are hyperactive animals. And earlier, we never had a plan to have so many CG takeovers in the film, although the shots increased to almost 700, 800 shots with the dogs there because they were not acting the way the director was, wanting. And there's another character called Buddy in the film, and he was a small pup. But while they were shooting the film, it kept continuing to grow. So that was another challenge because, the director was very specific to maintain in certain shots, to have live action dog and sometimes he wanted it to be taken over by CG. So lighting, groom, everything was a challenge in this specific show. All right, guys, I think there is a little technical glitch.
I think no problem, we can continue. For the Dalmatians, still, I mean, the fur length was quite small, but there is one character Buddy, but the groom length was quite long. So, I mean, for digitables and all, we can just project the photo shoot, and that way we can get a kind of almost exact replica of the human characters. But for dogs, we cannot project because because there is a difference in color from the root to tip. If you check the groom, all the animals do have a difference in color from root to tip. So we had to do quite a lot of research to understand that what kind of colors we are supposed to put in the root and what kind of colors we are supposed to put on the tips to get the right kind of output, and it should match exactly with the shoot. So that was really challenging for us, and I mean we did quite a lot of development in this term. Yeah, I think it's back.
Yes, so as I mentioned, there are a lot of environments in this movie, about 8 big ones. So in this specific shot, a part of it is, again, the interiors is digitally created and the plate work is live action. There are various layers that have been added. If you see, there are characters, dogs, there's terrain which is added. A lot of fog and smog is added because to add the character, little dark look is created by a comp team. All right, so this is an interesting shot. We did have a lot of de-aging to be done because the movie has some amount of flashback shots. So we didn't only de-age humans and characters, but we also de-aged London. So back in 1970s, there were no modern buildings back there, right? And even the Tower Bridge did not have any LEDs. So we had to rebuild all of the environment. Some of it is done digitally with matte painting, and some of it is created by Shubhashish's team.
Yeah, I mean, for creating this environment, I mean, one good thing is London, there are a few additions, but they are not subtraction. So we got the references from real footage, so which helped us in creating the environment. I mean, even the buildings which were there earlier, it's still there. So that helped us quite a lot.
So this one is a water simulation shot, which our FX team has managed, do it in a great way. At the start of the shot, you'll see the dog is having a wink. So we had to make sure that, you know, the eyelashes, all of that stuff, the wet look is created in the right way. Some part of the water is, again, from live action. We added the CG water and blended it together. This shot is an interesting one. It looks like it's shot in a single camera or a single take, but it is not. There are about 6 plates used to stitch this one. And then there is in between a CG takeover as well. So at the start, the screen left side is a different plate. This is a different one. And the third one comes in now. And this is a complete CG takeover. All of this is created in digital. Back to a plate which is shot, and quite a bit of environments you can see at the back. This one's again an interesting shot. We had a lot of roto animation work just so that the human interaction looks as real as possible. The dog is CG, a part of the hand is also CG, but if you see, this part of the hand has a lot of detail, which has a lot of hair, and we wanted to make it look as realistic as possible. So there's good amount of interaction and realism in that specific shot. So this is where there was a live action dog at that spot, and then it was taken over by the pup, the CG pup. It was quite challenging because, as I said, the scale and the size of the dogs was differing from what we had built versus what was there on the plate. And a lot of reflection and a lot of shadows had to be removed and recreated for adding up the CG dog there. This is one of the shots that I was speaking about, that the white cape then turns into flames and becomes a ravishing red dress. A lot of FX work, a lot of heavy comp work by adding up all the ambers and smoke to make it look as ravishing as possible. Guess what? That was not a CG shot. That was still shot live. Only the smoke is what we added. Yeah, back to dimensions. So the expressions are what the director was specific about. And that's where we had to build the CG dogs in the film. Some of the rodent work, a lot of defocus, a lot of shadows, recreation. Again, this is a shot where the heads of the dogs are replaced. The body is live action. A lot of saliva given by our FX teams.
As you can see, that only the head was replaced, body from the footage. So what kind of, we had to match exactly so that there is no seam in between. So, that was the challenge here.
Yes, in this, if you see, there's a lot of cloth simulation, which is there. This is our pup, which kept growing in the film. Again, just head replacement shots for the dogs. Okay, this is a good one, where if you see that there was a man holding the pillow, he was prepped out, and then we had roto animation team do a proper RA for the pillow, and we have the head put by our animation team perfectly right there in the middle, just so that it looks like the dogs are the ones who are holding the pillow. This is the shot where I was talking about the garbage dress. So, of course, in realism, there's no way Estelle would be able to carry this kind of amount of weight. So, most of it is CG. Again, merging it with what was there on the live action plate was a challenge. This is our moth shot, the chrysalis dress.
I think this costume was really special for us. This shot almost took 50 hours per frame to render. So it was that heavy. So we built, quite a few of variations of the moths, and we used our inbuilt MPC crowd simulation software to multiply, and we created tens and thousands of moths. But it was really heavy, and there are some extreme close-up shots as well. So there was a lot of research and development so that the extreme close-up shots also look quite realistic.
You want to talk on the groom?
Yeah, so as you can see here, these guys having longer groom, so it's not possible the groom will remain the same throughout. So when the photo shoot happened, the groom was looking different. So we were following the photo shoot, but when it came to the shots, it was not matching. So even the dog was aging, right? When the photo shoot happened, there was an age gap between and the shoot. So that was really challenging because we had to go with multiple changes in the groom to match with the shoot.
Yeah, especially with our lighting teams, to match the light direction was a bit of challenge on this specific character. This is an interesting one. So all of the fire that you see is staged along with the VFX and the SFX team at the shoot on the set. So all of the fire that you see on the sides of the walls, they actually had a set where they created the props, they colored them black, and they put paper on top and set it to fire. So there were about, I think, 5 or 6 plates that they had shot to add the fire. And it was extremely important because we wanted to have Estelle look as realistic as possible. It shouldn't look like a fake fire shot. And a lot of ambers were also shot differently. So only about 6 or 7% of CG FX fire is used. Pretty much most of it is the SFX plates that we received, what they had shot on the set, and our comp team had then kind of, collated and merged all of the layers. Although the exterior shots, when the fire is set to Cruella's house, all of them have CG fire. This one is again an environment, a DMP build, where the buildings and all, whatever was there in 1970s back in London was recreated. This is the actual way, the live action. This is how the castle is right now. But then we added, staged a lot of environments at the back and created the mountain and the hill and the whole look of the show. I think that comes to an end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We are open for questions if anyone has. Can you get the mic for them, please?
Do we have questions? Yeah, could we?
Hello. Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Congratulations for RRR VFX.
Thank you.
So my main concern is why animals look very realistic in Hollywood than in Indian movies.
So I think it's a mix of it, I would say. It's firstly the amount of time that the Hollywood films have, right? The budgets and the time that they have. There's a lot of pre-prep that happens. There's the VFX supervisors who are on the shoot. Although a lot of things are changing in India, like RRR is a very good example where we had the VFX supervisor who was a part of the crew, and he was at the set and the shoot. And that's how the scale and the interaction with the tiger looks as realistic as possible.
Yes.
So I think multiple factors play there.
Just to add here, I mean, as I was saying in MPC, we have some in-house development. So in-house development in terms of rigging. So we have a very, high-level skeletal system for animals with the muscle systems are there. We have developed a shader for the groom. So we have an in-house grooming software called Fertility. So this kind of research and development do require to get a realistic output. So I mean, we cannot create a realistic animal just with the available softwares in market.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We have time for just another question. Do we have any questions here? Yeah. Last one, yeah.
Hi, this is Raghavendra. Does it make any difference in shooting 8K or 4K regarding VFX shots?
So it depends, right? If there is an absolute zoom or you're doing a stitch, then that's when an 8K plate comes into play because you have extra frames, extra handles, then you can stitch with. So it depends on what the work is. So that is what the thing is. With 8K, you have a lot more flexibility in terms of stretching, squashing things.
Okay, one question, ma'am. What are the parameters that cinematographer should take care regarding lighting or anything, and common problems you will see during in post-production in terms of a cinematography department?
Sorry, could you come again?
What are the common problems in terms of cinematography that you will see in post-production, like in terms of matching the lighting, lensing, like that?
I think the biggest thing is leaving things on the set. I think that is so difficult because then you have a post team that has to sit and prep things which doesn't look real. So I think while shooting, it's essential that you have, and then continuity. That's one big challenge that we find. That, you know, there could be a day to night shot and then to convert and grade it becomes a lot of challenge. So continuity is something which is very essential.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Fantastic. All right. Okay, let's take one last question.
Hi. I just wanted to ask, what was your most challenging visual effects design?
I think every show comes with their own set of challenges. Like, you know, you look at Jungle Book where you had one Mowgli, which was just shot live, rest everything was CG. Lion King was completely CG. So each show comes with a different issue. There could be Cruella, where we had a lot of 2D concerns because there was so much live action that we had to match the 2D lines and 2D work around it. So I would say when it comes to biggest challenges, the current one which we just released, which is going to release on Apple Film is called Rescue Rangers. I think that was one of the most complex shows that MPC ever has done so far in the history. So it has 2D and 3D characters mixed, and there are 2.5D characters as well. So imagine, having a 2D hand-drawn image, which is actually which is created in 3D with the assets, and then you're merging it together with your 2D live-action plates. So that is one of the most challenging shows. Upcoming, I think June or July, the release is there on Apple TV.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Do watch Rescue Danger. I mean, huge amount of work went to that.
I think the team has put in almost 2 years of work on that show.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for that
Thank you.
fantastic presentation, Payal and Subhashish. Could we have a bigger round of applause for both of them, please? Thank you. Before we move on to our next presentation, a quick thank you for all of our sponsors. Platinum sponsor Technicolor Creative Studios and MPL. Gold sponsor Zebu Animation Studio. Silver sponsor Arena Animation. Bronze sponsor Epic Games. Venue partner Karnataka Chitrakala Parishad. Connectivity partner Act Fibernet. And association partner Indian Delphic Council. Could we have a round of applause for all of our partners, please? On that note, it's now time for us to move on to our next session, which is producing animation, trials, tribulation, and triumphs. A global computer animation studio, Zebu Animation, is a team with the creative, technical, and production capabilities to create animated TV shows, VR experiences, and films. We have with us the producer of Zebu Animation, Ms. Ishani Priyamvada. So could we have a huge round of applause, please, as I invite Ishani on stage.
I hope this is okay. This is working. Hi, everyone. This is Ishani. And before we go ahead and talk about animation production, I would like to show you our demo reel. So, okay, yeah.
Everybody, as we have a lot of students here, so we felt this could be a very, very inspiring story and a wonderful Wonder Woman standing in front of all of us. Please give her an applause. She has been awarded as one of the 100 Wonder Women in the country. Please give her a very big round of applause, please. Ms. Ishani Priyamvada, she is the producer of Zebu Animation. And right now, she handles 3 different verticals. It is as a project management, as a team management, and the client services. She has been working as a CG production pipeline, and that is the main role that she loves to do. And she has experience of 10 years previously working with Eccentrics. And the most important thing to talk about her, before I speak about you, I would like to speak about Mr. Viren Patel. A very, very inspiring person. I know him from many years. So the other day, when we were speaking about the sponsorship and everything, only question he asked me was, Shruti, can you do me a favor? Are you having a women's panel? And there is this little girl whom is the Wonder Woman of. I said, why do we need a panel? Let's give it to her, the entire stage, and let her be an inspiration and let her talk about her journey and what brings her here. And I think it should, all the aspiring students over here and the future producers, let's give it to her.
Thank you so
Ishani
much.
Priyamvada.
Thank you so much. So we'll just get started with our demo reel first. And we don't have audio, so if we
All
could just
dragons and ninjas with giant computers and slow software. But a legendary country star helped us turn the tide. As we flew into the new age, we faced new enemies. Modern ghosts that haunted our FX artists day and night. But by adapting to the latest technologies, we defeated them. When the world experienced a pandemic, we joined forces with LEGO's bravest heroes to help save the world. But evil never rests. We went looking for peace in the Lego universe, but we found real monsters in the cold and dark town of nowhere here. We even battled monsters from different dimensions with some special help. And we partied with trolls and minions all over YouTube.
All right, so that was our demo reel, my bad. And let me tell you something about Zebu Animation. We are a 3-year-old studio. We are founded by 3 industry veterans, Mr. Viren Patil, Mr. Venkatraman, and Sanjay Gupta. We are in Bangalore, Trivandrum, Hubli, and Los Angeles. The reason why Zebu Animation was formed because our co-founders really wanted to do our own IP. And that's still the aim. We are working towards it. I think we are in the right path. It's gonna take us a couple of years, but we are dreaming big, like all of you here. And that is the goal of Zebu Animation, that we do come out with our IP in the next couple of years for all of us to have a look at it. So yes, that's about Zebu Animation.
Okay. See, you have been working on some of the most wonderful projects. So we have the Lego here, and I have been inspired by one of the stories here, some of the TV series you have done, and the DVD films. So many different fields you have worked. So what brings you here, actually? How did it get into this field?
So I always knew that I did not want to be an engineer or a doctor. And of course, as a kid, I loved watching cartoons. I still do watch them, and I enjoy them. And it always intrigued me how this was created. And when I did my 12th, I did not know what I was going to do. And that's when I enrolled to that's why I enrolled into animation through Manipal. I'm a Manipal graduate, and I did a BSc degree. I am also an animator, not a very good one, and that's when my professors told me that probably I should move into the project management side, because apparently I was a good people person. And I was also able to speak to my professors and get my deadlines moved, and I think that was one of the reasons I believed in myself that probably project management is something that I can do. And yeah, that's how I enrolled into this, and I graduated. I interned at Eccentrics 2011 at 20. They actually gave me the platform to start my career, and 11 years from there, I'm here with Zebu Animation, talking to all of you. So,
tell us about the moment that you fell in love with this job.
So I started as a PA. First 2 years, I have people from Eccentrics sitting right here. Not the very best years of my life. As a production assistant, what you do is like you're given a notepad, you're given a pencil or a pen, and you're told to run from one department to the other, and literally I used to run. I used to run from lighting to animation and keep doing back and forth. But those first 2 years were actually the ones which made me realize what I really want to do for the rest of my life. Life's too, but for the rest of the upcoming years. And so I started as a production assistant, and I kept working. The moment I really fell in love with my job was I was actually coming back from a holiday, and I was sitting on a plane, and in the entertainment panel, they had Warner Brothers' Lego Scooby-Doo, and that was a show I worked on. And until then, I had never realized that okay, so what I work actually, it does come out. People do get to see it. I wanted to stand up in the middle of a flight and scream out that, hey guys, please watch, come watch my work, but they would think I'm retarded and I didn't do it. But that's the exact very moment where I fell in love with my work. And from then, it's been 20 shows, it's been a lot of Write films, a lot of TV series, a lot of DVDs, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And what I'm doing right now, I love it. So, yeah.
I think we have a lot of Manipal students here. Can I see some of the hands here?
Hey, you guys. I hope you guys are doing what it takes to be a part of this.
Okay. COE's been collaborated with the Manipal University, and we had one of the first batches who did the technology training at the center, the finishing school. So we have, yes, hi, some of the directors from the main Manipal University. We are going to have a collaboration, which we will be talking in the... So the main question here is that we have had students, we have had a lot of interns, working with us. The main, sometimes the psychology of the people is that come, learn, do some internship training, and the next is they want to think about the movement. Where next? Technicolor. They want to keep running. So there is no thought of stability. You want to be there for 3-4 years. We have to keep inspiring them or literally, hold them back together. So I feel that it should be self-inspiring to be working for years in an organization and do that. So whenever there is an interview also, we say the first 6 months is learning, understanding, and the next 6 months is execution. And then you have the next 1 year that you have to show your skill sets and additions. So that's at least a minimum of 2 years. But then this is the question I wanted to ask you. What do you think it kept you going and to succeed? Because it takes quite a lot of time to, actually make yourself successful. Even today, after working 5 years in the Center of Excellence, there is still a drive. What more? What next? So I think you should share your success story.
So my first job was Eccentrics, and I did 8.5 years. It was not 2, it was not 3, it was not 6. I did 8.5 years until I joined Zebu Animation to really do what I want to do, is that I want to create my own content. I want to go out to the world with our own IP. So what gets you going? What kept me going was the sheer perseverance. There will be tough days, there will be bad days, but you cannot give up. You got to keep going. You got to get through the end of the project. And that's what's the aim, that's what the goal, that's what the job of a production department is, of a producer, manager, assistant, coordinator, whatever you call yourself in that particular department, that's what it's all about. The fact that you get up, you take a shower, you go to office, and you keep going no matter how bad your day is. And trust us, as producers, we know how our day is going to be. I know I know from my 6 a.m. emails how my entire day is going to be. But you cannot give in. You read your emails, you make a backup plan, you figure all of that out, and you step into work. So keep at it. The other thing that I would really like to add is that it's not you alone. We are a team. You also need, or you got to have a bunch of supportive colleagues. You need to have the right environment, and you need to have good mentors, great mentors who will invest time in you. I am not me because I did it all by myself. I had a team who trained me. I had my colleagues who helped me. I had Viren who literally pushed me every single day to do what I should do. But it was not the first 6 years. It's only after 6-7 years when people actually get to see what you're capable of, where your team actually gets to see what you can do, what you can produce. So apart from oneself, you really got to have a bunch of people who support you, and that's very important. So you got to choose the kind of people you would want to work with, because you're going to spend 12 hours of your daily life. It's 200 days. You really want to be with the ones you enjoy working with. And that's when you'll enjoy your job. That's how I enjoy my job. That's how I do what I do. So it's very, very important that you keep at it and also build an environment around you which will help you grow. So it's a two-way street, by the way. It goes either ways. Yeah.
So being a producer, what do you think, coming to your job front, what is your challenges?
So many. Every day is a challenge, I must say. Project management, a project is a living and breathing organism. It's a baby, I would say. It changes every hour, it changes every minute, it changes every second. It's like you have a baby and you turn around and that baby has eaten a Lego piece. It's right in his or her stomach and you're rushing into an emergency, and that's exactly what's happened every day in project management. You turn around and they have I just heard the MPC guys say they're rendering per frame at 50 hours. And I was the only one who was like, really? Because if somebody told me that in my current studio, I would be flipping. And probably somebody would have to take me to an emergency ward.
You should be using the render farm at COE.
We do. We do use your render farm. So yeah. So it changes. It's every day is a new day, So, but yeah, the way you outgrow that challenge is you plan it out. You plan your day out. You plan your project out. So I would say you have to be at it. You have to be very, very reactive. You have to be live on your reaction. And it only comes through experience, guys. It's not a 1-2 year thing. It will take you time. A producer takes its own sweet time, be it 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, to actually know what it takes. So challenges are there. We learn through our experiences.
So the next question I want to ask, just not only for the students, it's for the studios. Now, it's a 3-year-old company, and you have won the Lego movie. I think you should give it to them, guys. They are doing the Lego movie. And the most beautiful part of the entire, your setup is that you have set up at Hubli.
Yes.
And then where you are looking at talents there from the US to Hubli to Trivandrum. Okay. So speaking of quality, because the quality is what must have got you because I've seen a lot of your work, your Channapatna work and everything. So as a producer, it must be very, very important, along with quality, to be cognizant of the budget.
Yes.
So how do you work on that? How do you handle both?
So budget and quality go side by side. They are two super, super demanding people in a relationship, I would say, it could be my mom and me. My mom was a very demanding person, so I know what it is. But we have to understand that the goal is the budget. The goal is the budget. A producer wants to deliver within a budget, but the purpose is the project, right? You have to understand, we as producers, we take calls which makes the project what it is. So, and it's a myth, guys. It's a myth when people say, production, they come. All they want is to get the job done. All they want to know is whether the shot has come or not. That's, because I have this stage, I can confront, tell all of you that it's a myth. A good producer will never tolerate a mediocre job. They will never tolerate a mediocre work. So we invest, we plan it out, we make sure that our budgets and our projects are aligned. Most of the time they are not, but we try and make sure that they are aligned and they go hand in hand. So yeah, it's a relationship, I would say. Budget, projects, it's both of them go hand in hand.
That's true. However, as a producer, they say, you have to get the village to work together. Yes, so how do you manage? It's an entire team that you need to take with you.
It is. It is a village. It literally takes a village to deliver a project. Your team. What I have learned through the years that it's very, very important to build your own team, to have your counterparts who will support you through and through, who will make sure that the project is delivered. Surprisingly, after 11 years, my team, it's not the 100 people I've started with, but there are 5 to 6 people who I started in 2011, and it's 2022, and we all do sit next to each other while we are working. So it's very, very important to build a relationship in project management. You producers, managers, you got to build a relationship with your colleagues. They have to trust you, you have to trust them. And when I say trust, it does not come easy. As project managers, we have to make sure that our planning is on point, that we plan, we schedule their life out. We show them what are the ways we could help them achieve the goal that they are looking at. So it is a lot of commitment again. Like I said earlier, you are spending 12 hours in a day with them. It has to be a fun working co-space. You got to enjoy the person sitting next to you. There will be tiffs, you will have arguments, but at the end of the day, you have to realize that it is for the goal, and the goal is the project, right? The goal is to deliver the most amazing, awesome looking movie, TV show, content, whatever that may be, out to the world. And all of you are working towards it. So it comes with partnership. So it's, again, project management, production, all of this experiences, it's a process. So you got to learn through it for everybody who wants, all the kids, if some of you want to head into this department, it's all about your learnings. It is not, in a very simple way, I would like to put that, it is not a textbook read. Nobody can teach you. Nobody taught me what project management is. I joined Eccentrics. I failed a bunch of times. I succeeded a bunch of times. And I learned from both. You have to learn from the right and the wrongs. And both are important. You have to fail. You have to fail to succeed. And you also have to succeed to feel proud. So both are very, very important.
See, you spoke about the relationship you should maintain with the artist. So, but then as a producer, you will have to maintain the relationship between the artist and the client. So, what is the story on that?
So now, Shiji, with the client front, honestly, as producers, we have to be the gatekeepers. We have to be the gatekeepers. We are the ones who actually shield them. You can't go to a client and say, "Arey, we couldn't deliver because one of my artists fell sick." That's not an answer. You have to give. You find better ways to do it. And nor should you ever do it, guys. You shouldn't do that. But we are the gatekeepers. We make sure that if I'm not delivering a project on time, I have to go and actually tell my client, "Hey guys, you have seen our work. My team does a spectacular job. I need another 2 months. And when I come back in 2 months, you will have a show which you'll be super proud of." And that's how I engage the client in that. And that's how I actually gain the confidence with the client. When the project is successful, it goes to my team. When project is not as successful, it goes to the person who's standing and talking right now. But that's the requirement of the job. You cannot have your team be barefront with the client. You have to be a gatekeeper. You have to be the one who is giving them the space to do what they need to, so you can go back to your clients and say that, "Here you go, this is what you wanted," and it's actually looking way beyond what you wanted. So yeah.
That's a conversation with the client, but then there could be a lot of pitfalls. So how do you navigate through the pitfalls?
Again, the only way to navigate this through pitfalls is to have always a plan of action. People should, I wouldn't say people, producers, managers, us in the production department should always have plan ABC. And if ABC is not working out for us, we go for XYZ or any other 3 alphabet that you can think of. But it's very, very important to always have an alternate plan in mind. And that's how you build, that's how you build the trust within the team who's actually delivering the show for you. Remind you guys, we are not the ones who are creating the content. We are the ones who are actually just putting everything in an Excel sheet, and that's the easiest part of it. Plotting, modeling, texturing, rigging, everything and it's done. But the difficult part or the more hardworking part comes with the team that sits behind you are the ones who are creating it for you. So it's very, very important that you gain trust. It's very important that you build, again, it all boils down to building partnership with your team so that both of you can come out of it. Now, if a frame is not rendering or a file is not publishing, you cannot solve it. By all means, I'm not the person who can solve a file error. But if I know a file is not working, what I can do is I can quickly arrange a meeting, have all the stakeholders sit in a meeting and have them think about it. And then ask them, okay, so now you tell me, how do I go and rework all those 600 shots? And that's what my job is. My job is to organize. I'm not the solution maker. I organize a meeting, or I'm a facilitator for the solution makers. That's the most important part.
So end of the day, all the hardships are worth it.
It is. It is so worth it. All hardships ever.
I think
is
that's
always
what
worth it.
everybody should be hearing that, because it's a lot of hard work that is, put into the entire creation of animation that we are talking about. And can you just tell me some of your personal triumphs?
There have been a lot of my personal triumphs, honestly, and it's a part, like I said, I've worked on a bunch of shows, and you have your name, in your credits, like a bunch of my colleagues do too. But my personal triumph, what I aspire, and I'm going to repeat myself again, I really want to create my own content. I really want to go from a doodle on the napkin to Netflix. That's what I really aspire for. I want to create my own content.
So what do you think would be the triumph for the industry?
The triumph for industry would honestly be our generation. That's me, you, all those Manipal kids who are looking at their phones. How are we going to succeed? That's what I'm talking about. Or how I want us to succeed. I want an Indian, I want the Indian animation community, all of us, to actually, instead of being a module of content delivery, I want us to be a module of people who create and innovate. I would love to see that our generation is able to collaborate within this community and create something for the world, where India could be a hub of amazing work that comes out of it, where we are not only creating, where we make the scripts. We start with pre-production, we do our dialogue, we do everything, we animate, we do the post-production, we do the DI, and then it airs on Netflix. That's what, and there are shows which we do, but I want more of it. Our generation should take a step on creating more of these contents across all OTTs, in theaters, everywhere. That's what I really dream of.
Isn't that wonderful, guys? Give her a big applause. Inspiring, isn't it? Really lovely when I read about you, and I wanted you to present. So this is Ishani here. Any questions from the audience? We are ready to take. Come on. No more questions, all answered. How many of you wish to be producers? Ishani, you didn't inspire enough.
I didn't, but it's okay.
Okay,
Probably they'll go back
there's
home
somebody
and
who wants to
decide.
take a question.
Hi.
Hello?
Closer. Keep the mic closer to your mouth. Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you now.
So, how do you maintain the quality from each project, from one project to another project? So, how do you maintain the quality of...
So, okay, the goal, like I said, the goal is always, if I've been given 100 rupees, I really want my project to look 100, if not 200. So how I maintain my budget from each project to the other, budget, production, get it out of it. Quality, it's my team, it's not me. My team works very hard. They are always up to the next new thing that's coming up. They actually come and say, hey, you know what? We worked 6 weeks, and so I will tell you something which is very funny. it was a week ago, and one of my team members actually walked up and say, hey, you know, the 6 months of work that we have done, we got to redo it because I want to change the software. But I promise you that the work that you'll see, and he did show me an image, and I'm like, okay, what is it going to take? How much should I shell? So the quality is the team that works with you. The quality is the artist. The quality are the supervisors. The quality are the creative directors who are working with you, who always push the quality. I'm a facilitator to that. I just have to make sure I have enough money and resources to give it to them so that they create the best that they can.
So who will
Okay,
do this all
let me
research?
just add something to what Ishani said. So we have worked with Zebu on a project from Epic Games. So it was a marathon that we worked at the Center of Excellence. And out of the 14 studios that we worked, so everybody had a script and they were working on the motion capture. Zebu Animation was the only team for that few minutes of animation. They hired one of the best actors. They used the entire head motion. They're the only people who use the head motion capture, the entire studio. They came again and redid the whole
Shiji and team have been very
so
kind.
I think you should show the work that we did together.
Yes, we will. We will show that. So, did I answer everything that you asked?
I mean,
if not, you
it
can,
is about the entire team.
Yeah,
that
it's
who
the
wants
team.
to do.
Actually, I forgot when you guys were talking.
No, sorry.
That's okay, that's okay.
So, what do you do, if I may ask?
We do virtual reality games.
You're an artist.
No, I'm a game tester.
You're a?
Game tester.
Oh, you're a tester. Okay. So, but you know what you want from the team, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Exactly. So, when you say about quality, it's all about your team pushing it to the next level.
And it's about you also.
And it's
how
about
much
you
of
as well.
quality that
Yeah.
you want to.
Because you got to be demanding. I'm very demanding at work. Surprisingly. I shouldn't be that loud. Apparently I am. But
Anybody
you've got to
else?
ask more.
Yes, and congratulations that
Thank you so
you
much.
have worked so beautifully forward.
Thank you so much.
The one and only woman out of the 100 in the country.
Congratulations
so much.
once again. I hope all of us are inspired here to do good work.
Yes.
Coming to the point is there are different approaches to any creative project. Now, how do you start? Like, you have a budget on hand. I heard this word, money more from your mouth as a producer than the creative part. That's my reaction, okay? So is it that you have already a fixed budget for this quarter and then you say, okay, I'll work on these genres and then you scout for people, or is it the other way too? Somebody approaches you with some creative concept and then you work down. How do you work? I'm a creative guy. I'm a writer, director from the film industry. Okay, image industry, that's what Biren was saying.
Said, yeah.
That's a lovely word anyway. So how do you, that's just the process I was thinking. If I have to approach Zebu, how do you work on? Thank you.
So we work both ways. Of course, we have a budget in hand when we're doing a project and we work on it. But the latter part, which I think you're more interested in, we do have people come to us with scripts. And we do have people who come to us with stories and what they want to pitch. And once they come to us, and if we love what the pitch that you're showing, we will invest. We have done it, by the way, for a couple of people who have walked up to us, and we are working with them on one of their projects. We are collaborating with them and creating it. So we do encourage people. Remember, my first thing was also, which I don't think you heard it right, I want to do an IP too. So if you have an idea which you want to work on, and if my co-founders are in love with it, trust me, Viren, Venki, you show them the work, and if they look at that one character and they fall in love with it, even I can't stop them from not pitching. They will
Let
be like,
me add
yeah.
a story.
They twist my hand to find budget so I can fund the IV side. So, yes.
Let me tell a quick story about Viren and Venki. So we do support Elevate funding from the government and a buy. And so there was this person, Srinivas.
Srinivas, yeah.
He just came to me and said, can you just look up the PPT because I'm going to pitch at the IP Elevate program. So I said, just wait because some of the dignitaries are here and I'll meet you. And he was waiting and Viren sir walks in to the office. And then I said, just have a word with him. He has a beautiful product there. And then I'll come back and speak to you. He was just walking on. You won't believe it. Today he's a part of the company. Sir has invested into it.
He does.
And then they are making the Lego, not the Lego,
No,
the Channapatnato.
Yes, yes. We can't name the project, but we have funded Srini's project. We took it to Kids Screen twice. We are working on the story, and we are working with him on the project. So yes, we do encourage artists to come up. We do encourage people with ideas to come up and create something that they really love. If you love it, and we find the conviction in you that you love it, we will love it too, and we will invest as well. So yes. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience, and thank you, Ishani, for such a wonderful session.
Though I really wanted to show what we did with Shiji and team, if we could just... Sorry, I'm going to move out. So this is a very short clip because we couldn't show you the complete one.
Podium mic.
Okay. I think hold your breath, guys. At 3 o'clock, we will be taking you live into the motion capture studio at the Center of Excellence. So
yes,
we will see that there. Yeah. Thank you, Ishani, and thank you all
Thank you so
of
much, everyone. Have a nice day ahead and tomorrow as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for us to quickly move on to our next session. Our presenter, Shivakumar, is the co-chair of SIGGRAPH Asia 2021 Computer Animation Festival, and he's here to present the traveling show. SIGGRAPH Asia has united creators all over the world to submit their projects for this festival. SIGGRAPH Asia Computer Animation Festival celebrates the vibrant, diverse, and inspiring world of computer animation. From short films to scientific visualizations to AI-enhanced deepfakes, these showcase prominent